Looks like a lot of
No, you're okay.
stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Sign your life away there. Oh, sorry. Oh, nice. Gotcha.
Oh, okay, got it. You're all good. I just wanted to make sure.
Let me see the two that did not. Yep. General. So it looks like on the corner. One that says general. I don't. What number again? Here, I'll give you these. Take a look. And then, oh wait, I have this one on mine. That's your in-house. Okay, thank you. Otherwise, I would call. No, don't do that. So what happens is they know what item. So when the item comes up, I will call them by the in order of how they put them by the number. For the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think that is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Yeah. I don't think that's a good one for him. I'm just trying to make it early. So, Lisa.
I'll get with, get a time.
We're not going to change it.
Sorry.
All right.
I don't think you really need it, but.
Good afternoon. We're going to continue the 1:30 public hearings. First item up is P47.
Just a moment. Sorry. I'll do publication for item P47, was published in the Tampa Bay Times on April 22nd, 2026. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Amy Toll with Planning Development and Economic Growth. Item P47, I'll read it into record. It is a long title, so fair warning. An ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code, Section 304 Public Notice Requirements, Section 402.3 Conditional Uses, Section 407.2 Zoning Variances, Section 407.4 Alternative Relief, Section 407.5 Alternative Standards, Section 503 AC Agricultural District, Section 504 AC1 Agricultural District, Section 505 AR Agricultural Residential District, Section 506 AR1 Agricultural Residential District, Section 507 AR5 Agricultural Residential District, Section 508 AR5 MH Agricultural Mobile Home District, Section 509 ER ER Estate Residential District, Section 510 ER2 Estate Residential District, Section 511 RMH Mobile Home District, Section 512 R1MH Single Family Mobile Home District. I'm about 3/4 of the way done, just saying. Section 513 R2MH Rural Density Mobile Home District, Section 514 R1 Rural District Mobile Home District, Section 515 R2 Low Density Residential District, Section 516 R3 Medium Density Residential District, Section 517 R4 High Density Residential District, Section 518 MF1 Multifamily Medium Density District, Section 519 MF2 Multiple Family High Density District, Section 520 MF3 Multiple Family High Density District, creating Section 408 Reasonable Accommodations, Section 530.26 Standards for Community Residential Homes, Large, Appendix A Definitions, and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion into the Land Development Code, and an effective date. This comes to you with a continuance request to August 11th, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. in Dade City.
A motion to continue.
Move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Continued.
Mr.
Item-
Chair, we had someone signed up for that.
But we've continued it.
Yeah, it's
It's advertised.
as a continuance.
Okay, thank you.
Item P48, do we have proof?
Yes, item P48 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on May 27th, 2026.
Item P48 is an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners establishing a temporary moratorium on the submission and acceptance of applications for building permits, site plans, development orders, development agreements, special exception uses, conditional uses, rezonings, and comprehensive plan amendments related to data centers, large-scale data centers, and other large load customers within unincorporated Pasco County, providing for authority, legislative findings of fact, temporary moratorium imposed, duration of temporary moratorium, severability, and an effective date. There's no action required on this, and staff is available with the presentation.
All right, I think it's important to do the presentation.
Absolutely.
I want everyone in the audience to know that this is the first of 2 meetings. We're going to have the presentation, we'll have a board discussion, and then we'll take public comment. This is something that we feel strongly about. I think we've anticipated it well. We've listened to a lot of feedback from citizens. We've also got a lot of other emails from other sources as well. We are stopping, we're going to be looking at putting this moratorium in place. Still got to be voted on for the following week, or following meeting. But it's something that we're looking at, we're putting all the provisions in. If you're going to do public comment today, I'm going to ask you, if you hear someone that's already said something that you want to say, please don't belabor it. We still got a lot of agenda to do. We're making sure we take care of this up front, but we will be bringing it to the next meeting anyway. After we have discussion, you may hear us even make some extra changes to it that we may add. But again, if we're going to do public comment, when we do the public comment, if you would, if someone's already spoken to say the same, please don't repeat it. You're just going to drag out the meeting. We've heard loud and clear to bring this forward to try to take care of your concerns, because there are concerns too. All right, please do the
Thank you.
presentation.
Amanda LaHill will be presenting this item.
All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Amanda Hill, Planning Development Economic Growth. I just wanted to state for the record that additional public comments were received by the Planning Development Economic Growth Department after this item was published, and these comments were submitted to the clerk's office for the file of record. So the purpose of this ordinance is to enact a temporary moratorium on data centers, large-scale data centers, and large load customers as defined by Florida statutes. This moratorium would be a temporary pause to preserve the status quo while allowing the county to consider the implications and impacts of data centers within Pasco County. The moratorium is not a permanent ban on such uses at this time. The board has directed this temporary moratorium to allow staff to research land use compatibility of data centers with surrounding land uses, consider impacts on electricity demand, water consumption, wastewater treatment capacity, and environmental concerns such as noise and light pollution, research the efficacy of best practices from jurisdictions nationwide, and consider the appropriateness of data centers in Pasco County and if necessary, develop appropriate definitions and performance standards to regulate or prohibit data centers for consideration by the board. A growing number of local governments across the nation have enacted or are in the process of enacting moratoria to allow for careful consideration of this emerging land use issue. In Florida, the following counties and municipalities have adopted or are in the process of adopting a moratorium. And this list is a little outdated. We tried to get as current information as possible, but I actually needed to include Wakulla County and Calhoun counties. We actually found that out this morning. So it's an evolving list. The proposed moratorium would likely result in a number of potential revisions to the Land Development Code to regulate data centers within Pasco County. Existing conditions within our code do not specify data centers as a use within any zoning district, nor are there any standards that would regulate such a use. Additionally, with the signing of Senate Bill 484, the state recognized under Florida Statutes 373.262 that data centers and other large load customers present unique considerations that local jurisdictions should address. So for the proposed 12-month moratorium, the county would not accept any applications for data centers and other large load customers, including building permits, site plans, development orders and agreements, special exception uses, conditional uses, rezonings, and comprehensive plan amendments. This moratorium would not apply to server rooms and other computer rooms that typically house IT and network equipment that are incidental to the primary use on site. On June 11, 2026, the LPA found the proposed ordinance consistent with a comprehensive plan and included a recommendation to revise the exception that was proposed regarding equipment located internally to a building. This stemmed from a concern that entities such as the school board might be impacted if their server rooms or computer rooms are proposed to be located in a separate building but related to the primary use. The revision in the ordinance text is reflected in the walk-on edits provided to the board at the beginning of the meeting and are visible on screen. Other items discussed include interpretations on what could qualify as an incidental use for the purpose of applicability in the moratorium. Planning, Development, and Economic Growth indicated to the LPA that potential abuse of this exemption could be resolved through site permitting reviews and inspections for certificates of occupancy. Another item that was discussed was the establishment of a maximum power consumption for data centers which would not be subject to the moratorium. Planning, Development, and Economic Growth indicated to the LPA that that insufficient research had been completed to establish an appropriate maximum power consumption to facilitate the submission of data center applications during the moratorium. Additionally, preliminary research by staff indicates that a lower power consumption is not strictly proportionate to the amount of water utilized by data centers and the grid. Finally, there are also other considerations regarding potential nuisances and land use compatibility that would need to be studied during the period of the moratorium. Planning, Development, and Economic Growth recommends that the board accepts public comment on this item. No other action is required by the Board of County Commissioners, as this is the first of 2 public hearings. The second hearing, adoption hearing, will be heard on July 14, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same may be heard in Dade City. And I'm available for any questions that you may have.
Okay, Commissioner Waitman.
Thank you. Thanks for the presentation. To supplement this, I'd like Ralph Lair to come up and give us a lesson on the state law, or whichever appropriate staff person, so we can flush those details out as well.
Where is Ralph?
We can track him down, but is there any particular, I mean,
I
we
just
have
think
the
it would
attorneys
be-
that can talk about state law
Yeah.
too, or any particular aspect of law, I guess would be my question.
I'll just make a comment on it as far as, from what I can see, as the state's made a decision that we need to go look at these. I think we're gonna do it anyway, but as we're pretty much instructed to do so, we're taking that step that the state wants us to take to study these and make decisions Oh, there's Ralph.
I'm glad the state's allowing us to
Oh,
do something.
yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Hey, Ralph.
I've been walking in,
No,
so
I
I
just
didn't
I
hear your
just figured
question.
it'd be good to give a brief synopsis on some of the key details in the state law related to data centers, AI centers, while we discuss.
With the law that passed?
Yes.
Sure. So Senate Bill 484, I'll just give you a basic summary of that bill. Specifies that agencies may not enter into non-disclosure agreements or other contracts restricting the agency from disclosing information about potential data center development to members of the public, maintains the authority of local governments to exercise the power of responsibility for comprehensive planning and land development regulations granted by law with respect to large load customers. The bill also establishes that large load customers may not be considered an electric substation for the purpose of the statutes. Provides definitions of the terms controlled by foreign country or concerns, foreign entity, large load customers, public utility, data centers, and large-scale data centers. Requires the Public Service Commission to develop minimum large load tariff requirements for public electric utilities. The tariff requirements must be reasonably ensure the large load customers such as large data centers pay for their own costs of service, minimize the risk of non-payment of such costs to the maximum extent practicable, and include provisions to prevent public utility from providing electric services to a foreign entity large load customer. Prohibits public, almost done here. Prohibits public electric utilities from knowingly provide services to large load facilities owned or controlled by foreign customers, and establishes a distinct large-scale data center consumptive use permit. So basically, it focused mainly on the it left you all with the discretion with how you do that. They did give definitions for provide definitions for large use data centers in the statute, but it gives you all the power to do what you need to do and make your own decision locally. It really focused on foreign control at the state level.
Thank you, Ralph. And for the county attorney, it was mentioned during public comment this morning that there were some counties that had permanent moratoriums on data centers. I think it'd be good to explain the federal case law and share with folks why the moratorium is temporary and is only allowable up to 12 months. And that way folks understand, as folks advocate one way or another against the moratoriums from around the state, that they understand the local government restraints and why moratorium of any type is limited to 12 months.
I'd be happy to, Commissioner. Moratoria are designed to allow local governments in the land use context to take a pause and review their regulations for something that was unexpected or has become a problem in the community, a problem for public health, safety, and welfare. The U.S. Supreme Court in 2002 took up the question of whether or not a moratoria was a temporary taking of property rights in Tahoe Sierra Preservation Council versus the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency. They found that it was not a temporary taking if the moratoria was designed to have a reasonable duration. So basically, by implication, they have said if it's too long, it would be a temporary taking. But it is that if the government has taken a private property owner's rights to their property, that they are entitled to compensation under both the Florida and federal constitutions. In the subsequent case law that has come out, the general cases have indicated that a year is a reasonable time period. In my opinion, a permanent moratorium would subject the board to a temporary or permanent taking case, based on federal case law, based on the federal constitution and state constitution. In addition, in Florida, we have something called the Birch-A-Harris Private Property Rights Act. That would also kick in because the argument would be made that you've inordinately burdened the property by permanently disallowing the use. The purpose of the moratorium is to evaluate the use and see what restrictions need to be made to protect the public health, safety, and welfare. And if those concerns can be addressed by regulation. So there might be a case where you would adopt regulations and a project wouldn't be able to comply with them. But in my opinion, taking the position that it can just be prohibited in your land development code without analysis is a concern that you will likely be sued.
Interesting. Thank you.
Any thoughts or comments? Okay. So with that presentation, as you can see, we have the flexibility to go through it. We even got granting powers from the state, which is kind of unique this time of the year, to actually do what we think we need to go do. So with that said, we are going to be looking at it. We're going to take public comment now. Again, if you would, just don't repeat something else someone has said so we can get to everybody and then get on with the rest of our business. First person signed up is?
Mr. Chair, I have someone who signed up and they have, for the agenda item, they put general, and our general topics were this morning, so I just wanted to double check to make sure that the individual didn't want to talk on something for this afternoon. Logan O'Leary, you have general written down. Do you, is it on anything this afternoon? Hold on a second. Is it anything for this afternoon?
Yeah.
Okay, do you know which item you're talking on?
C17, P54, and P55.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so 54 will be coming up later on, 55 as well.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top of my list and work my way through. For item P48, we have Ann Faber, followed by Annie DeMaio, followed by Donna Bradley.
If we could we have like two people lined up behind this person and keep that going?
If they're capable. Okay, if you could state your name and address for the record, and then you may begin.
Sure. Ann Faber, 10522 Garda Drive, Trinity, Florida, 34655.
Thank you.
Our natural resources are something to treasure. One of those resources, our land, is far too valuable for data centers. We need to use our resources carefully and thoughtfully. When planning for commercial and industrial spaces, we need to plan for businesses that will support our community by employing people locally and with the intent of it being long-term employment. Creating a job that lasts for a year, as a data center would do, does nothing for Pasco County residents long-term, while the negative effects would remain with us far longer than any job there would. If Pasco residents aren't driving to Tampa or St. Pete, that helps local businesses. From picking up lunch to errand running, the spending stays local. That sales tax helps the county. Shorter commutes translates to less gas, which is better for our residents' bank accounts, and it's less strain on our roadways and, more importantly, our time. We need businesses that plan to continually employ people in order for it to be a viable venture, making it worthwhile for Pasco County residents. When comparing pros and cons, I don't know of any pros. I don't see a job that expires within a year as a pro, but the con list is lengthy. They're obnoxiously loud, number one. Number two, they consume an astonishing amount of energy. Number three, they consume a vast amount of water. We have been in drought conditions here in Pasco County and the state for years. I can only water my lawn once a week, which does not make me happy. Why data centers would even be considered is disturbing on one hand and just plain silly on the other. Agricultural irrigation already sucks out enough. Number four, data centers will increase the potential for sinkholes by drawing up so much water. Number five, the amount of water used will increase drought conditions and dry out vegetation already fighting for it with climate change. We do have wildfires in our area, and we've had a wildfire on this side of the county within the last 6 months. Data centers do not draw tourists to our area. Data centers, number seven, do not promote my or my community's general welfare or the pursuit of happiness. In fact, they will suck on our resources like leeches and parasites, neither of which is good. I've listed my cons. I would like to know what the commission considers to be pros that could outweigh these cons. Thank you.
Thank you. Annie DeMaio?
Folks, please do not clap.
So, I'm
Folks,
sorry.
please do not clap. It'll just delay everything down. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Annie DeMaio. My address is 3102 LaCanto Street in Holiday. I am a past president and vice president of the TAT Civic Association, and Catherine knows me. Now, I don't have a long speech. I have been doing a lot of investigating and research on data centers. And my question to you is a couple of questions. And I'd like to have you either maybe eventually put it on record or something to this effect. What is your checklist? What are you going to be looking at when each application comes through? I mean, it could be an enormous center. It could be taking a lot of acreage that will be affecting our wildlife, impacting our communities. It can impact our communities miles of, throughout miles of what the center will be. My question is hypothetically, what is the benefit? What do you see as a benefit? Is it just financial to affect and impact a huge community? Is that all it's about? That's what I'd like to know. So my question is will you have a checklist for us to know how you're going to be looking at each application if it does come through, after the moratorium of the 12 months has been finished, and if you decide that you don't want to make it permanent, I think we should make it permanent. I don't think a temporary is good enough, but I do understand your position, and you do need to review and you need to discuss it, and you have to give it at least a year to do that, and I respect that. And I'm just going to finish with that and let everybody else think about it. And also in this room, we all came for the same reason, because we know it's going to impact our community one way or another. And I just want you all to just think about that in that year's time. Thank you so much.
Right. And as the next speaker comes up, I'd just like to say that as we do these two public hearings, when we do come back after a year, we're going to be bringing another public hearing back to everybody. So you're going to be able to see checklists, details, et cetera. You'll be able to comment again about what we're looking at doing before we actually do it. So it will be another public hearing process, just like this one here.
And would that go to the planning commission as well?
Yes.
So you'd have 4 hours.
The planning commission as well.
Following our next speaker, I didn't see the name written down, but you live on Kilmer Way in Hudson?
No.
No, Ms. Bradley, you're next.
You're next, ma'am.
Ms. Bradley, you're next, but after you, I just wanted to make sure that they were lined up behind you. You're
I'm
good. And then followed by Rebecca, and I'm sorry, but I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Is it Teft? Okay, great. And then followed by Daisy Carroll. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Bradley.
Okay. My name is Donna Bradley, and I live at 3818 Dog Trot Street in Trinity, Florida.
Thank you.
First of all, I wanted to say thank you for allowing us this opportunity to speak, because I know that that's not done in every place across the country, so we appreciate that. And I also wanted to say that I was so proud of our county for making the decision recently to buy 1,800 acres of land, because that is why we moved to this county, because it has beautiful pockets of nature. Starkey, the Starkey Park, I walk through that park every day when I go on my walk in the morning. And my husband and I are nature lovers. We're into sailing, not motorists, we're sailing. And we sail out of this area, and I'm into birding recently, which we have incredible birds in Pasco County. And my understanding and the research that I've done is that these data centers are very loud, that it's like a plane, it's like being in an airport with planes that take off that aren't taking off. Like the planes are getting ready to take off, but they never take off. It's constant noise. And that's not good for wildlife, for the birds that I've come to love, in the last couple of years, and getting into birding. And so I just feel like if we make this decision and we destroy what's our most valuable resource in Pasco County is our natural wildlife and our nature, then you can't get back again. Like once you make that decision, it's done. You can't go back and undo it. So if you've destroyed our natural habitat, you've made a decision that you can't go back on. And so I hope you'll carefully think about that, because you're taking away from the citizens, what we moved here for. And the reason why we don't have to pay taxes in Florida is because we're attracting tourists, and the tourists help to offset us paying taxes. And so it'll affect us not only economically, but possibly having to pay taxes in the future, and everything that it does to our water resources, our electricity, but also the way that we live. Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Marilyn Holleran, and I'm sorry I didn't write it down on the piece of paper. I live at 8852 Kilmer Way in Hudson, Florida, 34667. I am the president of the Pasco County chapter of the Democratic Environmental Caucus of Florida, and I speak for our chapter today. We're here because Pasco County is one of the most flood-vulnerable counties in Florida, and approving hyperscale data centers here without a flood impact study puts residents, infrastructure, and public emergency resources at serious risk. Data center developers are already scouting Pasco County now. Adjacent counties are already approving projects. Once a proposal is filed with a construction timeline, this board's options narrow fast. We are not asking you to stop development. We're asking for a moratorium long enough to study various questions. And the one I'm talking about is, what happens to Pasco County neighborhoods when a building the size of 75 football fields sitting on impervious pavement is placed into a watershed that already floods? Pasco County is the second most flood-damaged county in Florida, according to FEMA. Portions of the county sit within FEMA-designated special flood hazard areas. Our stormwater systems were not designed to handle the runoff generated by facilities of this scale. A hyperscale data center campus can cover 3 to 5 million feet of impervious surface. The building's foundation, rooftops, access roads, and parking, every inch of rain that falls on that surface becomes immediate stormwater runoff, discharged into the watershed at a rate that could take hours or days to absorb. In a county that floods in a thunderstorm, this is not a minor engineering footnote. And these facilities cannot be quickly evacuated. A data center contains billions of dollars of equipment, hazardous cooling chemicals, backup diesel fuel tanks that in a flood event become environmental contamination sources. There is a data center approved by Polk County where the residents were really not part of the decision-making or had no opportunity to be heard. They felt like they were misled by the time they understood what was going to happen. So anyway, we are downstream in more than one ways. What the board approves can still be shaped now, but only before the permit is filed. So please impose the moratorium pending a cumulative flood and stormwater impact study. require independent hydrological modeling of any proposed data center site, and make these studies public and subject to resident comment. Thank you very much for your time, for hearing our opinions. Thanks.
Good afternoon. Thank you for providing me this opportunity. I'm Rebecca Tept, 6155 Missouri Avenue, Newport Richey, Florida. One thing was already mentioned, so I'm going to mention just other parts of it. Sound was mentioned. The audible sound was mentioned. I want to talk about the inaudible sound, the infrastructure sound. It is 20 hertz, which is below anything that you know that you're even sensing. It is known, Dr. Paul Heroux confirmed that infrastructure sound at high volumes directly affects the central nervous system and heart function. So this affects local communities as well as the employees. It has a significant impact on children, given that they're in their throes of brain development. This sound creates constant stress that creates permanent learning disabilities. I think that that's very, very important when we think, I'm stuttering, when we think about the future of our people. The other thing that is very concerning to me is the waste. In 2022, we made 62 million tons of tech waste, laptops, phones, whatever. These data centers, beginning at 3 years, have to begin changing out their computers and all this technological equipment because it has become outdated. As fast as we are moving in technology, this equipment has got to be replaced. So that is going to be added to this tons of waste that we are already producing. 22% in 2022 was recycled. The balance went into dumps and landfills. This is full of lead, mercury, cadmium, hazardous waste material. It's going to affect whatever grows out of the ground, affect a cow eating the grass, will affect a human being that comes into contact with it. So it has a broader effect than just being this dump and leaching to like a negative landfill, because it gets into the soil and the water, and it affects our farms. It affects the cow that you may eat tomorrow. There is actually a pretty short life to a lot of the infrastructure. Your IT coming at 3 to 5 years, your mechanical systems at 10, and then 15 years for even a larger portion of the infrastructure that begins to need to be repaired. That is a really short life for a facility that can destroy thousands of acres of land, because it expands at least 20 miles around it, to employ 450 people. A 200-bed hospital would employ 800 plus people and only take 10 acres, as opposed to 700, 1,000 acres. Oh, my time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So Deus Carroll, followed by Paxton Page-Gray, followed by, I think it's Lady Gonzalez. Thank you.
Hi, Doris Carroll. I live at 5244 Hawk Drive in Holiday, 34690. I'm going to be speaking today about public health. I'm a registered nurse, so that's really important to me. We are here because hyperscale data centers bring chronic, measurable public health harms to the communities where they operate. And Pasco County has no health impact baseline, no health monitoring requirement, and no community health protection standard in place before a single permit is issued. Okay. We are asking for one thing before any permit is approved. Establish a community health baseline, require a health impact assessment, and make both public so this board and these residents know what they're voting on. Let me be specific. These are not theoretical risks. They are documented impacts of operating data centers on surrounding communities. First, diesel particulate matter. Data centers maintain banks of large diesel backup generators tested monthly under full load, producing fine particulate exhaust in residential air sheds for hours at a time on a schedule that never ends as long as the facility operates. Fine particulate matter is linked to asthma, cardiovascular disease, and premature death. Pasco County already has elevated rates of both. The second is chronic noise. Cooling equipment runs 24 hours a day. Low-frequency noise from large HVAC arrays and cooling towers has documented associations with sleep disruption, hypertension, and stress-related illnesses, with children and the elderly mostly acutely affected. And third, heat. Data centers exhaust enormous quantities of heat, waste heat into the surrounding environment. In a Florida county already experiencing worsening heat events, adding industrial heat load into residential neighborhoods is a direct public health intervention and not a beneficial one. None of these harms require an accident. They are routine, continuous, permitted operation of the facility every day for decades. And right now, Pasco County has no requirement to measure any of them before or after a permit is issued. We ask for three things. First, require a community health impact assessment before any data center permit vote, establishing a baseline and projecting health effects on surrounding residents. Second, mandate continuous air quality and noise monitoring as an operating permit condition with public reporting. Third, make health monitoring data publicly accessible in real time, not locked behind a records request. Pasco County residents breathe the air next to what this board permits. They sleep next to the noise it allows. They live with the heat it accepts. They deserve to know the health costs before you vote, not after, and they've been living with it for a decade. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Move to receive and file.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, you can say your name and address for the record.
Yes.
Again. Thank you.
I'm Paxton Gray. I reside at 10346 Bob White Way on Newport Richey, border of Hudson. I am a student at the Florida School of Professional Psychology, working on my doctorate in clinical psychology. And my hope is that one day I will be able to return and make my services here in Pasco County, the county where I grew up. But the issue is that if we end up taking data centers here, that could devastate our local water source. My family uses well water, and I've seen the videos of other residents from other places around the country that have had data centers put next to their houses, and how that then changes their water quality, so their water pressure. They'll be getting brown water out of their faucets if they have any water at all. They may even have to buy new well equipment to extend their wells. We are here because Pasco County sits directly above the Floridian Aquifer. This is a drinking water source for millions of Floridians. Hyperscale data centers are among the largest industrial water consumers on Earth. Approving one here without a cumulative aquifer study is a decision this county cannot undo. Once it is done, that water is gone. The Florida aquifer does not replenish within months. Even if this drought ends, there will still be a water shortage in the aquifer. It takes more than months to restore the aquifer water. The issue is that you can't refill it. It recharges over decades. So if we were to take one of these projects locally, for example, a single hyperscale data center uses evaporative cooling and draws between 1 and 5 million gallons per day. Those are gallons that we cannot put back. That water evaporates into the atmosphere. It does not return to the aquifer. It does not return to the watershed. It is permanently removed from the local water cycle. This water then will not go back into our well water. It will not go back into our county water, which means that, the added residents we keep adding to this county will not have access to the water they need to do their daily living activities. In April, Polk County approved a $2.6 billion, 4.4 million square foot hyperscale campus in Fort Meade, drawing from the same aquifer that we use. So, other counties drawing from the same aquifer also impact Pasco County's water system. So, That water is already happening upstream. Pasco County cannot control what Polk County approved, but we can control what happens here. So, our request is that we do a water study and we see how much our aquifer can actually handle, that the citizens actually have access to this, and that we have a say in what happens to our land so that we can make decisions for the better health of our family and our county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Please
No
don't
clapping. So following our next speaker, I have Christy Zimmer, followed by Christina Lecetera. Oh. Mr., could you tell me your name?
James Shirk, S-H-I-R-K-M, further down.
I'm sorry. James Shirk, okay. I have 4 people ahead of you.
Oh, okay.
Okay? All right. You may proceed, thank you.
My name is Lady Gonzalez, and the address is 10346 Bob White Way, Newport Richey, Florida, 34654. My name is Lady Gonzalez, and I'm a doctorate student of psychology. I introduced myself this way because it's pretty much established that the social sciences, including psychology, should make decisions that better our communities. And it has long been proven that while therapy and psychological services help individuals, we can't ignore the systemic challenges that communities face and their effects on their mental health. So in the efforts to uphold my ethical duties, I'm violently against AI and data centers. The Booker 2025 article shows that living near AI data centers is abhorrent to the health of individuals. Data centers increase the risk for respiratory and heart diseases. They increase air pollution, which directly affects the local temperatures, often raising them enough to impact climate in the area. Data centers consistently contribute to water shortages, using clean water to cool down the intricate systems, which also affects local water purity and water pressure. Alongside water use, data centers have an increased need for energy, a cost that many locals tend to bear. And data centers have followed our country's history of environmental racism, as they're often placed in areas with marginalized communities, which are the most impacted. Though most citizens disagree with data centers, government systems often ignore our pleas to invest instead in programs that will aid in building up the community. The Booker article finds that data centers' proposed job market is more fallacy than truth, as many of those buildings reduce community budgets, engage in wealth extraction from the community, and use underpaid labor while causing economic displacement. The lie of a booming job market is one that often comes with more lax regulations, easy zoning privileges, and a tax break from the local government that further moves funds away from our local community. While the data center may require labor to build, it often requires few people to run. So the allure of a booming job market is temporary at best and unstable at worst. While many local government bodies have decided to ignore the valid public outcry towards data centers, you all here have an opportunity to represent your citizens' concerns and be our collective voice in this public matter. So I hope you take this opportunity to represent us and place public concerns over private financial growth. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Christy Zimmer, 3615 Pinecone Court, Land O'Lakes. I just want to say thank you for taking this into consideration. And if you could consider having the next meeting in the evening so that more people could show up. A 5 o'clock meeting on this issue, I think, would be incredibly important. I am very concerned about the fact that this moratorium is only for the mega centers. This is not okay for the micro, small, medium, or large data centers. That's exactly how they're going to get around this moratorium. Just like the gentleman that spoke at the Planning Commission meeting about how he doesn't need a zoning change. He's already received approval from the power company with Lacucci River Electric for the 19.9 megawatts. In order to stay below the trigger points, he thought his water would be reclaimed until he found out that we don't have enough for the people who already need it. So he would be using potable water. 350 million gallons, I believe, was the number that was used, of potable water that will be contaminated because they do have a coolant that's into it. And where does that discharge go? This is flying below the radar. This isn't okay. I call, we need to protect the people. I'm begging you to please amend this moratorium to include micro, small, and medium and large, as well as mega, until we have more research and better information and understand the long-term effects on our people, homesteads, communities, livestock, and nature. Please amend this before you sign it. Thank you very much.
Please, be quiet, otherwise we'll have to have you removed.
Okay, so following our next speaker, I have Verania Lacerda, followed by Sean Gregory. Thank
Good
you.
afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the board. Thank you all for taking your time today and allowing us to speak. My name is Christina Lacerda at 9510 Delray Drive in Newport Richey. I'm here today because I want to speak to you all, just like everyone else here has so far, about we're asking you to protect our lands in Pasco County, the expansion of these data centers. And as the lady previously just said, we'd like for you to consider putting a moratorium on all data centers until we can do more research, not just these large ones, but these smaller ones too, because many small ones will deplete our resources just as much as one large one. Pasco County residents are already asking to conserve our water during these drought conditions we face. Watering restrictions and increasing concerns about the long-term sustainability of our water supply. And I know people have already addressed that, so I'm not going to get into all that, but we do deserve some answers as the public, as your constituents. We know we talked about where this water is going to come from, possibly these aquifers, but, you know, as this gentleman pointed out earlier, there's only so much water and we draw off of it a lot. You know, how much water is going to be consumed annually, and that's going to depend on how many data centers you all allow, and hopefully you'll allow none. You know, what chemicals are being used, and do they have to use those chemicals? Are there alternatives? Are there alternatives to where we can build these things if you need those things so badly? Can you not put it offshore somewhere where we don't have to hear it and see it? I don't know. Have you considered any of that? Anyways, how it's treated, how residents can be assured that our groundwater, our wetlands, our rivers, and our drinking water supplies are going to remain protected. And beyond water concerns, these facilities require hundreds of acres of land that are often currently used for agriculture, open space, wildlife habitats. Once these lands are converted to industrial use, they're lost forever. You're never going to get it back. You can't bring it back. Pasco County is home to diverse wildlife, including protected species that depend on increasingly fragmented habitats. I personally have 5 gopher tortoises on my property right now, and they're driven from the building there on Little Road, all that Newport Corners. You've driven all of the deer into my backyard, and I love it, but it's really sad to see them kill themselves in traffic. It's really sad to see these gopher tortoises who will kill themselves if you pick them up and you move them. Sometimes they get really disturbed, and they'll go kill themselves. I just would like for you all to protect our habitats and our environment a little bit more. We should not be replacing farms, fields, forests, and wildlife corridors with massive industrial complexes that provide relatively few permanent jobs while placing additional demands on our water, power, and our infrastructure systems. I understand the state law limits development moratoriums to 12 months, or the federal law actually now. Therefore, I respectfully ask you all to enact the maximum allowable moratorium on new data center development while conducting a comprehensive study of the impacts of water resources, wildlife habitats, agricultural land, infrastructure, and surrounding communities. At the conclusion of the study, I urge you to adopt zoning and land use regulations that prohibit large-scale data centers in Pasco County. The decisions you make today will shape Pasco County for generations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is this the last speaker?
No.
Hi, my name is Veronica Lacerda. I live in Newport Richey, 9510 Delray Drive. I'm here in opposition to building the data centers and act respectfully to permanently ban data centers. I've been an engineer for over 30 years. Being an engineer, I am all for technology, but not for these data centers, and I'll explain why. One of my jobs I have worked was at the Crystal River Power Plant that provides power north and south of Crystal River, from close to Orlando all the way to St. Pete. I worked with the coal units 4 and 5, and in one day the power plant would go through a huge amount of coal. I'm talking the size of a football field to at least 20 feet high. The data center alone would use all of the coal and power in one day, not to mention the power has to be refined and scrubbed with lime injection for pollution control emissions. We do not have the infrastructure to support a data center. We have already under tremendous growth with all these new homes and buildings being built. I heard someone talk about components being outdated and the need to be replaced. I work with semiconductors and the components have material declaration sheets. A lot of these parts have hazardous materials, including lead, even those that claim to be RoHS, which is lead-free, sometimes from the solder or already in the part. Components also contain barium, silicon, uranium, and the list goes on. For example, that will go into the landfill. As for the water consumption, the amount of water data centers will take and the chemicals that will be dumped into the landfills unrefined, our drinking water, wells, rivers, and lands will be contaminated. How will those chemicals be controlled so that we won't be poisoning the community? Where will the water come from? We are in a drought now with water centers. The data centers will also radiate harmful RF at frequencies which will also cause harm to humans and animals. They will also create noise. How will that be controlled? How data centers are taking over people's land in other states. People are losing everything they have worked for their whole life to be taken by these data centers, causing irreversible harms. These data centers are not giving anything back to the community. It will not create substantial jobs for the county. It will take away everything from our forefathers have fought for. Data centers are not for we the people, and we the people are not for the data centers. Thank you.
Thank you. I had called Sean Gregory, but you're here for another item. I apologize. I will, when that item comes up, I will give you your name a call. Right now, we have signed up for item P48. We have Michael Polterak and James Shirk, followed by Jonathan Decker. Thank you.
I was a few minutes late and did not take the oath.
It's okay.
It's a legislative item, you don't have to.
All right, perfect. So, hello, everybody, again. My name is Michael Poltorek. Address is actually protected. So, couple of things to add here. They're hitting on the water pretty good. My issue is the threshold that you're starting with. There's a 1,300 acre complex being worked on right now in Arcadia. It's the biggest one in the state. This should scare you. There's a gentleman in this room who's trying to put forward a 19.7 megawatt location in our county that will take, I wrote down at the last meeting, 300,000 gallons of water every day to run it because reclaimed is not available. It's underneath your threshold. You won't be able to do anything about it with this moratorium. The threshold is part of what we need to talk about. I may be the only one in here who's actually worked inside Masscom data centers in many natural disasters, okay? I have a little bit of experience with this. Florida is prone to droughts, wildfires, flooding, and hurricanes. We are a natural disaster magnet. I am telling you, data centers of any size do not belong in this state. Micro centers that are a direct support function of existing physical businesses, I have no issue with. If it's attached to a hospital, attached to a university, attached to a school, I have no issue with it. And we need data centers. We do. They just don't belong in Florida. They belong in a mountain in other states where it's cooler. They don't have the issues we do. We're competing for drinking water, etc. But let's get on to the bigger issue here. I'm going to connect some dots for everybody. There's a reason that the power companies aren't showing up and fighting this whole thing. Okay? There's a reason power generation is not part of this discussion. It takes 6 to 9 years to build out a new grid to get enough power to these data centers. The reason they're not talking about it, and I have plenty of documentation here to prove it to you, is because these data centers, before they're built out, are going to be using portable nuclear energy. Mr. Engel, these are not microreactors, these are SMRs. I'll give you all the intel you want on it. These have been underway since 2019 and funded by the Department of Energy. They've already rewritten 3 of the CFR chapters to include licensing, regulation, safety, preparedness, and response to these nuclear reactors. I'm pro-nuclear at secure sites like TECO, like Crystal River. Homeland Security actually pays for the law enforcement presence for those to keep them secure. Any data center that says mega in front of it, we don't need it here, okay? I mean this. Portable nuclear in our neighborhoods, we don't need it. That needs to be the real discussion here, to not allow that in Pasco County. We need voices that are going to represent all of your people and give you all of the information. And for that reason, I'm sharing with you that I'm officially running for the state seat to be a voice for our people for District 54. Thank you.
No clapping. We have bailiffs in the back that will escort you out. So don't clap.
You can step up to the podium. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and thank you for taking the time to listen. My name is James Shirk. I reside at 1420 East Hannah Avenue, Tampa, Florida, 33604. I'm here to speak on behalf of Kimberly Overman. She is running for U.S. House of Representatives, District 12, which includes Pasco County, west of Interstate 75. We're here because a hyperscale data center plugs into the Duke Energy Florida grid. Every family in Pasco County helps pay for the infrastructure it requires, whether they were asked or not, and whether this board knows it or not. Developers are scouting Pasco County right now. Duke Energy is already expanding its transmission infrastructure northward through Central Florida to serve industrial demand, which means we're on the map. Once a proposal arrives on this dais, the rate impact on Pasco County families is already baked in. We're not asking you to stop development. We're asking the board to answer one question before any permit is issued. What does this data center add to the Duke Energy bill of every Pasco County household? And does this board know what that number is before it votes? How the cost shift works and who pays. Here's the mechanism. A hyperscale data center draws approximately 100 megawatts of continuous power, equivalent to more than 80,000 Florida homes. To serve that load, Duke Energy must build or upgrade substations, transmission lines, and generation capacity. These infrastructure costs are not charged to the data center. Under Public Service Commission rate-setting rules, they're classified as system costs and recovered across all ratepayers, every household, small business, school, farm, household, including every household family, every Pasco County family. Florida residential electricity rates have risen more than 30% since 2020. Duke Energy has filed repeated rate increases before the PSC, citing industrial load as a driver. The board is the only place where this gets a vote. The Fort Meade warning, as the previous gentleman said, in April, Polk County approved a $2.6 billion hyperscale campus in Fort Meade, drawing roughly 100 megawatts from the same Duke Energy Florida that serves Pasco County. No rate impact analysis, no independent modeling of load impacts. The load is already on the grid shared by Pasco County. What this board approves next compounds it. The only question is whether Pasco County families find out before or after the permit is signed. We ask three things: require an independent grid cost shift analysis and projected per household rate impact study before any data permit vote. Second, mandate a community benefit agreement with ratepayer relief fund contribution as a condition of approval. And third, not put that rate impact analysis on the public record before this board votes, not after. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have Jonathan Decker, followed by Emerson Martin, followed by Matthew Grimes.
Chair, move to receive and file.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
And what's your name? Jonathan Decker. Jonathan Decker, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emerson Martin, followed by Matthew Grimes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Emerson Martin, 9330 Creedmoor Lane, Newport Richey, Florida. One of the greatest parts of being in the United States is the fact that we are just one of 50 states, 50 very diverse states, and within them, their own individual local communities and governments. Because of this, we can look to them and learn from their accomplishments and their mistakes. I recommend everyone here, especially our commissioners, to do their research into these communities where data centers have already been put and listen to the stories of these regular, everyday people who live by these facilities. They're unhappy, and their mental and physical health and well-being are being disastrously impacted by this. I recommend that you and everyone here simply start by listening to the video "I Live 400 Yards from Mark Zuckerberg's Massive Data Center" on YouTube by A More Perfect Union. And also, "We Saw What AI Data Centers Don't Want You to See" from PBS Terra. And please protect those who cannot speak. The plants and the animals may not be able to pay taxes, but they do matter and are significant to maintaining our ecosystems. And if their well-being is not a concern, please remember that if their home is disrupted, they will find their way into our homes. As for the noise that others have mentioned, as someone whose background is in mental health, I have to tell you I cannot imagine what that will do to the mental health of our people in an area like Pasco, where the mental health and substance abuse is already an issue. Please put in this moratorium and really listen to those who have already been living by these centers, not just those who benefit monetarily from them. I will tell you, as a proud resident of Pasco, I do not want any centers here at all. I hope that this goes through, and throughout the year, this moratorium, you will listen to us and our desire to not see any of these data centers put here. You represent us, and we are your people. Please, please, please do not do this. Please do not allow data centers to be here. Please do not do this to us. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Following our next speaker, we have David, is it Miltonberger? Followed by Kimberly Cox. Thank you. You may proceed.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you. Matt Grimes, 6510 Bradford Hill Court, Wesley Chapel. I'm here in support of the data center moratorium. I'm a longtime tech worker, and I'm also not anti-tech or anti-data center per se. However, I am kind of against the whole speculation driving the data center boom that's going on right now. We've heard a lot about the direct environmental and economic impacts, so I'm not going to beat on that drum. What I'd like to examine a little bit is about the indirect short order consequences. Letting this genie out of the bottle right now in the current state, without thoughtful and deliberate consideration in the regulation, will be a burden on the citizens of Pasco County big time. My question would be, do we have enough skilled workers to even support a data center boom and data center development in this county? If not, those skilled workers will have to be moved in to support projects on a transient basis, which will drive up housing costs rapidly in short order. Already taxed roads will have to contend with increased commercial traffic. If it's not repaired by us, the taxpayers, then it will be taxes on broken windshields, punctured tires, damaged suspension, and even more lost economic activity due to residents sitting in traffic. People are afraid, and rightfully so. There's also a big significant gap in education in the types of data centers and their use cases. We should take this time to clearly define, evaluate, and regulate these use cases. For example, is the facility used for leasing rack space to local or co-located companies and organizations? Or are they just there to lease power, compute power, to Silicon Valley tech firms who are going to be extracting Pasco resources for their profit? The cost to the residents of Pasco County economically, health-wise, and environmentally is too high to allow any data center projects to go forward at this time. Let's take a step back and ensure that we do not burden Pasco's citizens with further impactful development. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. You may step up to the podium. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kimberly Cox. I live at 7322 Dogleg Court in Port Richey, and I am a representative of Voices of Florida. I just wanted to say that when I heard about this meeting, my initial thoughts were absolutely not, because that's my initial thoughts since I was a child. Sarah Connor was an icon of my generation, after all. But also as an artist, I think it steals art and creativity, and I'm an artist, I'm already starving. Then I thought about the misinformation and the disinformation and all of the problems that we faced as a direct result of that. And then I thought about water conservation in Florida and how that was a huge issue, and the ever-rising cost of electricity and how much I already pay to stay cool for 9 months a year. Then I thought about how marginalized communities are disproportionately affected by centers like this and how this will not create much needed jobs that will replace them. Then I thought about how corporations lie to and steal from hardworking people. They make backdoor deals and they get us on board by swearing they have done their due diligence, but then they use their billions of dollars to buy their way out after the damage is over. Look at the opioid crisis, look at the housing crisis. But I only have 3 minutes or less because, your time is valuable, just like mine is. But I think that every voice in this room and every voice that votes for you, every constituent and everybody that doesn't vote for you, their voice matters. And to rush us through these things, I've been to 1 million meetings like this. I already know that that's going to happen. So I don't really have time to delve into the statistics of any of those things. So I'll leave this with you instead. Oh, sorry. The only experts that you need to listen to are the members of communities that already have data centers like this. They will tell you firsthand what their lives are like, what their consequences of these data centers are. They are the experts in the headaches, the disruptions of sleep, the overall decline in their health. They are the ones that see what is happening to the wildlife and the infrastructure in their hometowns. Just like my 3 minutes isn't long enough right now, 1 year is not long enough for you to fully grasp what all of this entails. You all have other jobs, you have families, you have commitments, you have things that you're going to focus on. You're not going to spend 40 hours a week for the next year focusing on this. It's not possible. I understand that. So what I'm telling you is just get it off the table completely. Earn your money for the county elsewhere. Other things can come in and buy your property and generate revenue for you that is not going to end up being the end of us all. I mean, by the end of all of this, we're going to have 2 computers that are talking to each other as they drink the last of the water because we're all dead. I mean, it's a reality.
Thank you. David Miltenberger.
Thank you, Commissioners. I do have documents for the.
Move to receive and file.
Second.
Sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's right. Those gentlemen here was the first thing this morning, came back from Warsaw, appreciate that.
Hi. Oh, of course, Board. Thank you very much, Commissioners. My name is David Miltenberger. Address is 12065 Northwest 78th Place, Parkland, Florida. Thank you very much, Commissioners. Again, my name is David Miltenberger with Stellaris Data Centers. I am here to ask the county to allow one small data center, a 19.9 megawatt facility, approximately 200,000 square feet. That you'll like this part. We actually use, I got more information since the last meeting from my construction group. We actually use no water for cooling, none. 200,000 square foot facility that would use about 19.9 megawatts that uses less than approximately 200,000 gallons a year, and that's just for the restrooms. That's about equal to what a coffee shop uses. Our facility would provide about $3 million in tax revenues for this beautiful county. We currently have a 30-acre site under contract next to a brand-new substation inside the 600-acre double branch industrial development fronting Interstate 75, already zoned industrial with no residential neighbors anywhere around. I want you to know I listened to the community. I heard their concerns last week, and there are many, and they are reasonable. No one wants a giant utility-hungry facility draining the county's water. I don't either. And I'll be honest, last week I spoke before I had all of my facts. I have them now. As I mentioned, my general contractor, one of the country's leading data center builders, confirmed in writing just yesterday our facility could use a fully closed-loop cooling system that uses zero water for cooling, none. Not 1 million gallons a year, not 10 million gallons a year, not 100 million gallons a year. There's all new technology in the data center industry to help solve the issues that they've caused. All these giant facilities that use millions of gallons, they were built years ago. That is not currently what we're talking about. My facility, again, would use less water than a typical coffee shop. It's current technology, folks. And our power is a direct utility contract with the local co-op, so no resident rates would go up because of us. My company actually supports a moratorium on large data center facilities. We support the moratorium.
We're humbly asking the county to consider keeping a path open for small, low-impact facilities like ours that carry none of those costs. Two ways that you all could do that. Option one, pass the moratorium with a carve-out, allowing a data center facility only if it's under 50 megawatts, if it's within 1,000 feet of a substation, and uses less than 1 million gallons of water per year. Period. That's option one. Option two, pass the moratorium as written, but allow one pilot facility like ours to truly be a partner with the county, where the county can set all the limits of our water, of our power, of all our utilities. You get direct access to all of the information, and you can be a beacon for Florida and show all the other counties what responsible data centers can do. Again, that's $3 million in tax revenue per year from our $200 million facility that is asking for nothing in return. We respectfully ask for no incentives, no subsidies, no special treatment.
Thank
You cannot
Why does
do
that matter?
You cannot do that.
Why does that matter? It's a $200 facility.
I believe your time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quiet, please. Is there anything else?
Mr. Chair, that is all that I have signed up for item P48, and we have no one virtually for this item.
Okay. Did anyone else who did not sign up that would like to address this issue?
I see some-
If you want to speak, please line up one behind each other.
So just state your name and address first, and then you can proceed. Thank you.
My name is Gabrielle Clements. I live 571 Bay Street, Palm Harbor, Florida. I want to say that I think a lot of people are talking about the impacts on like the environment and things, but I don't think enough people are talking about the community and how the community is impacted from this. People are losing their creativity and they're losing their brain. I am probably the youngest person in here. I just finished my first year of college. I'm going into environmental science. I know the impact is grand and great on how people live and how the environment is affected from this, but it affects me. I'm gonna grow up here. I've grown up here. I've seen the rise in AI data centers. I've seen what it does, and it makes people lose their minds. I have friends who don't even know how to write an essay anymore because all they can do is ask a chat box, and it's making people dumber, it's making people slower, and it's hurting people and their creativity and how they can process things. I know that a lot of people use AI for sources and stuff, which is it's not a good source. It can barely get the right information for you. I know a lot of the animals are also, and I know people have already talked about this, but a lot of the animals are very affected by this. I'm mainly focused on animals. I grew up around animals. I grew up on a little farm. And we need this water. We need this protection against the environment. I'm probably going to be here for another 50 years. And I'm probably going to be here long before a lot of the people in this room. And it's me who has to it's me and people like me and people in my age group who are going to have to live through this and live as it takes our water. Not within the next year, not within the next 5, but within the next decade and the next century. We're going to have to live through this and live with the consequences of what would happen if we put this large data center and open this Pandora's box of letting more data centers into Florida and into the United States, which is not okay. And it's going to take up a bunch of, I think we're shooting out a bunch of environmental or a bunch of data centers, and we're not thinking about how that this is going to be so normalized. And so we don't even know the effects fully on the environment. Data centers haven't been around long enough for us to study and know the full effects of this on our environment. So I think we should do a little more research, and I think we should wait maybe 10 to 15 years to see how much these affect our environment and affect our people. Thank you.
Thank you. You can pull the mic down. Yeah.
My name is Cody Checkle. I live on the Pasco side of Spring Hill. My address is 16751 Lashua Drive. I haven't heard anybody discussing what these data centers are actually being used for. And I have knowledge of that because I've worked as a data analyst in big tech for about 15 years now. I've worked with AI for longer than a lot of people have known what AI is. I've worked with big data on a global scale. I've worked with metadata also on a global scale. I worked for one of the largest data companies in the world here in Florida. The facility where they store all that data for people globally, many, many, many millions of people, is 1/100th the size of these data centers that we're seeing spring up. So these things aren't for Meta. They're not for your phone company. They're not, like, people don't know what they're for. They're for mass surveillance. They're for all those spot cameras that are going up without our permission. They're for every text message we send, everything we do on social media. The government wants to store that, and they need a lot. They need a lot to be able to do that. It takes a lot to store that data and then to use that data. And they're also being used to automate jobs and so eliminate jobs from us. People in my industry are being wiped out effectively by AI and H-1B foreign workers. Every day on social media and local forums, I'm seeing people in Pasco County and surrounding counties who can't find a job. They can't find a job because of foreign labor, probably much of that illegal, and AI. This is something that is very disturbing, and it's all actually unconstitutional and illegal. Nobody's talking about that. Nobody's waking up to that and realizing that. I think eventually we're going to. AI is also a bubble that's going to pop. It's going to be like the .com bubble because it is not all that people think it is. It is not as effective as people think it is. It's not accurate. And it's being pushed right now at the federal level by foreign special interests. They want to store this data and then they want to use it to work against us. They're already using it to work against civilians on a military level in countries abroad. These are the things that we can expect to see come out of these data centers. We need to understand, what are they being used for? Nobody's asking those questions. You guys need to ask those questions. And it's also being opined by many nationwide that their local officials got bribed to say yes to these data centers when the communities overwhelmingly said no. So if that's the case, I think we can look forward to an investigation into corruption here. So thank you.
My name is Jose Freitas, and I live on 18222 Cypress Bay Parkway, Land O'Lakes.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jose Freitas. I'm a native of Pasco County. I've been living here all 20 years of my life, and when I heard that there was a moratorium on AI data centers, well, quite frankly, I was shocked but not surprised. I grew up in Pasco County, and what I can tell you is, as the time has gone by, overdevelopment has crept into our community, as it has across the state. My mom and I have a running joke that every new construction site is a new car wash. Near 70% of the time, we're right. Now, Pasco County is discussing about whether or not we need a data center here. The sheer thought of it alone is enraging. AI is, to many, the jumpstart of the third industrial revolution. To others, it means utter catastrophe. AI data centers take up large amounts of water in order to cool down its machinery. Think about the impact that it has on our nature's ecosystem. The plants and wildlife that thrive here will disappear. AI data centers have shown to shock and overwhelm electricity system. Electricity companies can turn around and take advantage of the situation and raise everyone's light bill, all because we needed the AI data center. Think about the impact that has on your constituents. In a time where basic commodities are already at an all-time high, insurance, gas, groceries, we are in an affordability crisis, and we're here sitting thinking and talking about whether or not we need a data center with zero safety nets? That's ridiculous. As a young person, as so many others have, I am often misrepresented when it comes to AI. Since it's a new useful technology, I should be the most enthusiastic out of anyone here, but I am not. I am not the only one who feels the sentiment. Students, both high school and college, have seen a drop in cognitive retention in class. Think about that. With literacy rates already dropping prior to the AI problem, we are barreling towards the path of anti-intellectualism. I argue a society who cannot think for themselves is no society at all. My name is Jose Alejandro Freitas. I'm 20 years old and I'm running for state representative here in Pasco County. I think about the working class here. I devote my time to fighting for the people. County commissioners, I ask, will you think about your constituents when it comes down time to vote? Thank you.
Thank you.
That's why
You may proceed.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Amanda Swanson. I live at 2541 Galewood Drive in Trinity. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I was very pleased to see the moratorium even be an option for us. I genuinely feel by vibes alone that you guys will possibly really put this moratorium into place, and I do fully appreciate why it would be for 12 months. I hope that in 12 months we'll be here again to set up another 12-month moratorium. There's only been one gentleman who came up here today that I disagreed with in any capacity. I'm sure you can figure out which one it was. Everything I feel has been expressed today, except for one thing that seems very small, but it is, I just wanted to put it on the public record. We are already seeing what happens in the short term around the data centers that already exist, but we certainly just cannot at this time know what this looks like 5 years from now. We're still learning about long COVID and potential ramifications from fast vaccines. Like, there are things that take years to unpack. There has already been some reports in Texas, from farms in Texas around data centers that are already currently active, where their livestock have not provided a single live calf. They are having stillborn births across the board. Their cattle are procreating, they are miscarrying or giving birth to stillborn calves. Now, I know Pasco County is not a bastion for the dairy or beef market. However, data centers don't target cows. This have ramifications for other livestock and eggs, but it also has ramifications for the farmer's wife and daughters. There are things that we simply cannot know right now, and if this level of contamination to our groundwater and our drinking sources and our air can potentially cause long-term infertility, I think that is something that should be seriously looked at, and I find it very ironic that the party that is putting these data centers through across rural and suburban America is the same party that just spent 5 decades doing all they can to overturn Roe v. Wade. Thank you for their time.
There's only one reason data centers are eyeing our county is
Name for the
Oh,
record,
sorry,
please.
Don Henricks, 34259 Whittington Lane, Dade City.
Thank you.
There's only reason data centers are eyeing our county because they consider it an untapped resource. That's all they want is our resources. The only reason that we would have a data center here because there's absolutely zero benefits other than any financial gain for the county. And that's just basically saying we are willing to sell our resources for money. And that makes zero sense because in the long run, what needs to be considered is what is the long term? We get the money right now, you get a little bit of money every year, but what is the long-term cost that we're going to be having to deal with? You don't even know. It could be so astronomical that any reward that we get for money would not even pay off. So that seriously needs to be considered. I agree with everything else. I've already stated that at the last meeting about the environmental and all that, and people have already said that. I would want to say one thing. If the people aren't considered, if the land isn't considered, if the nature isn't considered, the one thing that is going to be impacted is property values are going to plummet. And here we are growing this county already. And what about the potential growth that is going to be stunted when there's not enough resources for other new developments, homes, or incoming things? Because there will be no water, there will be no resources for that, for growth. And one thing I would like to reply about Mr. Miltenberger, the one thing he did not state was that he wanted to build his less than 20 megawatt data center, but he admitted at that meeting that he wanted to add on. He wanted to get in under the 20, but then he wanted to add on. And that is the problem with people like him is they want to come in and he stated, I would like to buy more land and add on more. So it doesn't end. And he never stated one thing, no water use. Well, where is all the chemicals that he's using? Where are they going? He never mentioned that either. So maybe he's not using water, but he's using something and it's got to go somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come up and talk. My name is Kelly Dotson. I'm a Hernando County resident and involved in Hernando County data center no data centers. This data center violates the National Security Act of 2024, HR 2670, the annual defense policy bill that authorizes funding levels and sets priorities for the U.S. Department of Defense, military personnel, weapons programs, and national security initiatives. It restricts certain Chinese semiconductors, sourcing, and technology. It promotes secure U.S. and allied supply chains for the critical component software and infrastructure. All data centers are made of these Chinese parts and infrastructure and are a risk to national security of Florida. Just as May 8th, 2026, Governor DeSantis signed HB 905, the Foreign Interference Restriction and Enforcement Act, strengthening Florida's protections against hostile foreign adversaries seeking to infiltrate government critical infrastructure, public institutions, and states' economy. In 2023, Florida enacted SB 264 to prevent hostile foreign governments and entities affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party from purchasing farmland or lands near military bases and critical infrastructure. Florida also restricted certain government contracts involving foreign countries of concern, blocked foreign-controlled companies from accessing sensitive personal information, and banned TikTok and other foreign-controlled applications from state and devices and networks. Governor DeSantis also signed Executive Order 22-216. The order prohibits state and local governments from procuring or utilizing technology services that has been determined by DMS to pose a risk to safety and security of Florida due to the company's connections to or use by China, among other countries. Doing so, DeSantis said, will help prevent exposure of government information and technology services and systems and services in Florida to other state and non-state actors affiliated with China. DeSantis also proposed legislation action to prohibit government entities from contracting with companies owned and controlled by or domiciled in China as if the contract would provide access to Floridians' personal information. They are banned. This data center will be surveillance centers collecting all of our data. So if the local government approves a data center, is Pasco County in violation of the Governor's Act? Thank you.
Hello, my name is James Cook. I don't have a prepared statement. I'm from the west side of the county. One thing I wanted to say is the gentleman who came by earlier and spoke about the cooling system within data centers. He didn't clarify what that system is because it doesn't exist. You know, there's no type of cooling system that exists at that scale. This doesn't happen. With that, also, you've just heard from the last 25 people that we are all very much anti-data center. Everyone here is pretty much against it. I think it's going to be on all of you to vote going forward showing that. That's all I wanted to say. I hope you guys have a good day.
Again, I don't have a prepared statement. This is just off the whim. Angela King, 11210 F Street, Port Richey. Back about what he was saying. The gentleman that was here before talking about a closed loop system, he ran out of here like a scared puppy after he finished what he was saying because he didn't want any questions. My question is, he's got a closed loop system. That closed loop system has to be cleaned out at some point. It's got to have chemicals in it. It's got to be released someplace. There was nothing telling us what kind of chemicals that were used, where it was going to go, how much it was going to be, or how to even do that. Who can answer those questions? That was just a quick point that I just wanted to make because there was nothing said about how to do that closed loop system. He just said it and that was it and cut it off. I just wanted to make that point.
Thank you.
I'm also unprepared, but I just want to say a couple of things.
Just need your
I
name
was
and
born
address.
about 40 miles
Name
from
and
here.
address for the record,
Oh,
please.
sorry. Eugene Alfano, 8224 Palencia Drive. I live in Timber Oaks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I was born less than 40 miles from here. And starting in 1970, I worked for an architect. And I don't know if you all are familiar with Lake Padgett Estates, but we subdivided 714, I think the number was, lots off of 41. Lake Padgett Estates, their second edition. When we were doing that, we were designing homes, and many of the lots that were in that complex had so much water on them, we had to make provisions for that. That being the case, that was 1970. And I won't talk about that. Anyhow, my thought is that any of the people with the resources to develop this stuff, they're not going to live in here. They're not going to live here with us. They'll be someplace else. Also, they have the resources to insulate themselves from the problems that are going to culminate with the development of these projects. Okay, I'm 81 years old. I don't give a damn what you folks do, because it ain't going to affect me. But if you're less than 50 years old, you better get concerned. I'm concerned with the science denying, I'll keep it clean, folks who think that they're going to leave it to chance what's going to happen with our environment. But I'm seriously doubtful that in 15 or 20 years you're going to be able to breathe here. And if the younger folks don't get their act together and get involved with our political system and do something, we all won't be able to breathe in 20 years. I'm hoping to live that long. I got great-grandmothers that lived more than that, but I don't really anticipate it now. So that's what I wanted to make. That's the point I wanted to make. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mendy Martin. I live at 3117 Huntington Road. I didn't plan on speaking today, but, you know, I think we can all agree these data centers are more about data. They're also about surveillance of us. I can't control what they're putting in our food. I can't control what they're spraying in our air, but we still can control our vote. And we're telling you how we feel about these data centers. And I want you to think about that. We can still control our vote. Thank you.
Okay, was there anyone else want to address the board? Was there anyone else online?
No one's online.
Okay, we'll close public comment. Back to the board for any further comments or staff.
I have a question for staff.
Mr. Whitman?
So, can you clarify first point, to the lady who talked about electronic. How about now? Is it working now? Can you hear me now? All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming today and to the Planning Commission. E-waste will probably be, or currently probably on the cusp of being, one of the largest solid waste challenges that our planet faces. And the e-waste challenges, from electric car batteries to disposing of those to everything that's in our phones, devices, computers, will be a compounding challenge for years to come. And so I hear you on e-waste and electronic waste. Does the language include all sizes, scope of these data centers, like the gentleman that was here, and the smaller ones, and the medium and the large? Does it incorporate, the moratorium incorporate language to halt a data center of any of those sizes, aside from what Planning Commission, like what the school board has, and those type purposes?
Amanda Hill, Plan Development and Economic Growth. Commissioner, my understanding of how this was drafted was that essentially the definition that the state has for a data center, which is all-encompassing, that definition has been baked into the language that's in the moratorium ordinance language. So as such, it would encompass everything except what we've clarified that are not applicable to the moratorium. So those would be specifically server rooms and computer rooms typically used to house IT and related network equipment that are incidental to the primary use on site. So the school board item that you were just discussing. And then there is also language in here that after a determination of public necessity by the board, an existing development agreement may be amended or a new one adopted by the board to allow for the construction of a data center that is not a large load customer, providing that the agreement imposes specific conditions addressing, including, but not limited to, all of the following: location, size, light, glare, height, water use, electrical power consumption, noise, and compatibility. So if it doesn't fall into the category of the server rooms or the category of public necessity, the moratorium as currently drafted would prohibit that.
Sounds a little loose.
Quiet, please.
I'm not so sure for the 12 months that's catch-all language. I need county attorney or a legal mind to weigh in, or other board members. Thank you, Chair.
So you've advertised large-scale data centers and other large load customers within the unincorporated county as being affected by this moratorium, except for those exceptions that Amanda has given to you. So something that does not meet the definition of a large-scale data center, is smaller than that, would not be covered by this moratorium.
Hold on for a second. Quiet, please. It says, whereas, comma, data centers, comma, large-scale data centers. That would mean any kind of data center.
You
It says-
cannot
it says
comment
data
what's
center-
out there.
Hang on, please.
Related, okay.
This is data centers and, comma, large-scale data centers.
So-
And then it goes on to large-scale load users.
Yes, the definition is related to data centers, comma, large-scale data centers. So whatever comes in under data centers would be covered, as well as large-scale data centers and large load customers within the unincorporated area. That's what the advertised definition is. And so you can't broaden it now, but that's what was advertised for this moratorium.
Can I share the definition for data center per the state statute?
Please.
Okay. So it says here, a facility that primarily contains electronic equipment used to process, store, and transmit digital information, which may be a freestanding structure or a facility within a larger structure which uses environmental control equipment to maintain the proper conditions for the operation of electronic equipment.
Do we have to use the state's definition, or can the county evolve the definition into Pasco County's definition of a data center?
If you create a definition of data center that is different from the state's, you can, if you can back it up, you can use that definition.
Can you back it up?
You haven't developed a definition yet, have you? Or had staff?
Because we want to include micro, all of it.
But can I just add something? That is a very broad definition.
Yeah.
It includes literally everything. That's the reason why staff had to exempt computer closets, because it's such a broad definition. It includes
Our IT department.
It includes our IT department. It includes the computer room for this building. It's that broad of a definition. That's why they had to include an exemption for server rooms for buildings, because it's that broad of a definition.
So for the sake of comfort, that language is sufficient on the record as a catch-all.
I think it is a very broad definition, yes. I think it includes every, Mandel, do you want to read it again very slowly?
It says data centers, comma,
Because
megawatt.
when I read it, it was extremely broad to me.
Okay. So this is a facility that primarily contains electronic equipment used to process, store, and transmit digital information, which may be a freestanding structure or a facility within a larger structure which uses environmental control equipment to maintain the proper conditions for the operation of electronic equipment.
So that concludes everything that can be considered a data center, the micro, the medium, the whatever.
And do you?
I agree with David, that portion of the state definition is very broad.
So that, it is a
You
catch-all
can- yeah.
legal language.
It depends on, yes, you've advertised the world. Now, it's what you actually apply it to in the adoption of the ordinance.
Are you saying we can change it a little bit?
Yes, I mean, you can, what I'm saying is, you've got language, you've got a proposed ordinance that's before you. If you believe it covers everything that you want it to cover, you adopt it as is. If you've got any concerns, you still can be more detailed about what is and what isn't.
So, Chairman, so if there was a hypothetical exception, somebody were to come in to try to propose such a project here, what hypothetical exception would that outfit potentially try to use? I know it's on the fly, but
Yeah, I have a question too.
if somebody came in and said, well, I have a project and here's an exception to your language, they're trying to find a loophole, right? I'm trying to understand what the potential loopholes, if there are any, with the legal minds in the room.
Well, I can tell you what was discussed at Planning Commission. And it's really under one of the two exceptions that Amanda just read. And one of the arguments that was made was that somebody might try to argue that under the incidental use exception, that somehow their data center was, that it was a warehouse and that their data center was an incidental use to a large warehouse, that was the argument. So Planning Commission wanted staff to identify some cap on the megawatts even for an incidental use, because they were worried that that might be subject to abuse, the incidental use exception. That was the argument that some of the Planning Commission members were making, that was potentially subject to abuse.
But the 12 months allows us to come up with rules and regulations and et cetera on how to prevent that from happening.
It
That's
does,
what we need
but I
this
think they were
12 months
worried
for.
that during the 12 months that somebody might come in and argue incidental use and that they're really a data center. Mr. Engel can get up and explain why he doesn't think that's a concern, just like he did the Planning Commission, but that was one of the concerns that was raised by the Planning Commission.
Chair.
Is he here?
She has questions.
No, I was gonna ask the same thing, but you brought it up about closing the loophole, but also the language. Like, I was looking up other names for data centers. There's one, the cloud. It could be called the cloud. It could be a data hub. It could be a co-location facility. Like, in that, just because it says data center, if it's called something else, I just wanna make sure it's included. Like, that they cannot get it through the county. There's no loopholes. There's no way to get it through.
If it meets the definition that you put in your ordinance, they can't get it through.
No matter what the name.
Even if they try and call it something else.
Like with that gentleman saying there's no water or something like that, if he called it something else. I just wanna make sure, like, something like that couldn't slip through.
Well, he proposed an exemption to your moratorium so that he could build
I
it,
get that,
so.
Mr. Starkey?
I have two questions, and I guess this is gonna come up during your year of research. But the nuclear waste, really got my attention. And so I want to make sure that we're looking at what that means. And I don't know if that gentleman is here, if he has any or not. I don't know enough about these. I'm glad we're doing the moratorium. But I thought I heard that the Spiros campus needed a data center. And so, where are they in that process? And is it like an IT department versus a data center, or what's happening with Spiros?
Well, David Engel, Planning, Development, and Economic Growth, thank you for inviting me up to the podium. To answer your question, Commissioner, we do not have a specific proposal for Spiros to employ a data center. But we've had some general discussions over the last year or 2 years that at some point in time, a small-scale data center would be necessary for the Spiros campus to support the biotechnology, pharmaceutical, manufacturing, and patient treatment facilities on that property. We have nothing specific, nothing proposed, and in fact, all the phasing of development in front of us now does not include a data center.
Okay, so we could get our rules in place and what we, right?
That's correct. We also crafted a statement of necessity. Let's say Spiros has a large international pharmaceutical concern, and they want to come in and build a massive facility or something that's pertinent to the Spiros philosophy and project, then the board could consider that as part of an economic development, a pertinence to that type of development. But other than that, we don't allow data centers in this moratorium, and we have a complete blanket prohibition.
Okay, and lastly, I know that NACO, that's our National Association of Counties, that's our organization, I'm on the board of directors. We've been talking about this. I remember at one of my last board of directors meetings, there was a gentleman from, I think, North Dakota that said they had a data center that was 2 miles long. Crazy. And then you've got Loudoun County, Virginia, that has 400 data centers. So I've been texting here, but I don't have an answer yet, if they will be holding, and I know there's other commissioners around the country that are asking this, because a lot of communities are having these discussions, to have a special session for us on the data centers, and we'll hear from commissioners who are living through it. So when I get that answer, I want to be sure we send staff, and I would recommend you guys come up. Jack and I will be there. It's in New Orleans. But if they're doing something on data centers, I want to be sure we get to go and pay attention to what's happening around the country so that we can learn from what others have been through.
And just to, when you were talking, the one woman said about the public health and the health impact, assessment on these data centers. I think that's important too, because we did hear a lot of concerns about that.
I kept a
across
whole
the
list
board.
that
Yeah, I
was
have 2 pages of notes. So I just want to make sure that, we're on top of that piece as well.
So Commissioner, I've taken notes throughout the public statements, and I've documented everything that's relevant and important for us to review. I can just tell you that it is a significant undertaking, and we are urban planners. We realize there's science, there's specialization that we have to consult with, and our intention is to hire an expert consultant to act as our advisor during the preparation of this data center. We don't have one in mind yet. We've drafted some scope, and we are putting out our feelers to see who's out there, who has the expertise and the experience to backstop us technically.
Okay. I'd like to say, Dave, I feel comfortable as far as the way the sentence goes with data centers, then large scale, that is fully encompassing. We also have the control if we chose to from Moffett, if they came up to something, we could look at it, but meanwhile, we've got everything blocked. So we're in control.
That's correct, sir.
Okay, so I feel good with that. Commissioner Waitman, when you brought up as far as the e-waste that we have to deal with, I don't see that in the resolution. It probably should be in like the next paragraph down. I think that should be added in there. And Commissioner Yeager, as you bring out as far as like health concerns for people, animals, et cetera, however you want to phrase that, I think that should be incorporated into this as you bring it back to us.
Well, would that be in the ordinance or the moratorium ordinance or the final ordinance?
To me, it's if we can add it.
We could bring it back at the second
And-
reading and the
For
adoption.
the second reading to add in the changes.
Yes.
That's great. That's the purpose of the, I think, the first and second.
Amanda may have some questions because she's the expert scribe.
That's right.
The
Make sure I
chair,
got all my notes
if I-
right.
If I can.
Sure.
Before you go have this dialogue. So if you stop future data centers from being built, there's no e-waste generated because they're not being constructed. If you're concerned about the e-waste in the eventuality that data centers are permitted sometime in the future, that would be a regulation under your land
Did you put it in
development code
Okay.
to deal with that issue, but.
We don't need to put it in this now.
But this is gonna stop them from being constructed, so you wouldn't need to deal with that right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and I noted the e-waste comment that Commissioner Waitman made in our, all the issues that we're gonna look into. Thank you.
And as we adopt this, we're gonna be able to make this retroactive, so it goes back to the date of the hearing?
So there's a case in Florida, Smith versus the City of Clearwater, that says that while a moratorium is only effective upon adoption, the moratorium can be made effective retroactively to the first day it was noticed.
Well, we should have done that on the billboards. You weren't
Let's
there.
stay-
That
let's
was
stay
years
focused.
ago.
That isn't what they did.
Stay focused, please.
So we can work on the effective date before your second hearing if that's the board's desire.
I would think the earliest date we can do would be the appropriate one.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Any
It's
further
not-
discussion?
We don't vote on it,
Okay.
right?
Right.
It's-
Yeah, we're not gonna vote on this. This will be heard at the next county commission meeting at 1:30 thereafter,
So,
and we'll be
yeah,
discussing
the
again.
second hearing for adoption is to be held on July 14th, 2026 at 1:30, as soon thereafter as same may be heard in Dade City.
Okay.
But we did hear you and thank you for all
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah, thank you all for your input, and stay with us on it. We'll be going through the process. Thank you. Let's take a 5-minute break as the room clears out.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Chair, can I just ask one question?
Yes.
There is that exception, the public necessity exception, and it has a list of factors that have to be addressed if we do that. Did you want us to add e-waste in that list?
Yes. Yes.
As far as to consider
Is that something you
consideration,
want added to the list?
well, e-waste, I would go to
Because if
health
so,
as
that,
well.
that is a change to the actual ordinance.
Then health and safety, can you put that in there as well?
Well, 'cause it has a list of things that need to be addressed if we enter into such an agreement.
Okay.
That,
Then health
that's a
is-
change to this ordinance, not the future land development code. And
Then-
so if you want that to be addressed in that agreement, that's something that we'd have to address in this ordinance.
I would put that in there and health and safety as well.
So if you want e-waste in there, we'd have to add that to this ordinance.
All right, everybody agree, health and safety and e-waste?
Well, health and safety is pretty broad. But,
Let's put it in there, we'll address it.
safety,
Yeah.
So,
okay.
so the answer is yes, we should add that?
Everyone
Aye.
agree?
Yes.
Yes, yes?
I'm waiting for my
You get
county.
you get 3.5 out of 4.
Well, it already says in the best interest of public health, safety, and welfare in the whereas clause, but, I mean, so
Okay.
you can,
Yeah, Jeff, do you understand the list I'm talking about with the following? It says
The exception.
the list of things that need to be addressed in the agreement.
okay.
And it says size, light, glare, height, water use, electrical power consumption, noise, and compatibility.
So I think that e-waste would be appropriate to be in that list if that's something the board is concerned.
Right, that's what I'm asking. Did you want that to be added? Because that,
Yeah.
Yes.
we need to change the ordinance
Yeah.
to add that.
Do
Perfect.
we have to vote on that, or is that just board
We just gave
Yeah,
direction.
We're just, I just want to make sure staff has the direction to add
Yeah.
that.
You got
Okay,
it.
Minutes.
thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll be back in 3:22.
There's going to be a line on the ladies. There's going to be a line on the ladies.
Very effective, sir.
I want to make sure they know that's the talking.
I'm really dressed for all this, on airplanes, my husband works on airplanes. Some of those chemicals are really nasty.
And they're closest.
Until they're open. Right, because, I mean,
Still losses.
it's
my understanding that that's the project.
yeah, well, I and my husband have both on aviation, close to they're not. And, you know, one of the hydraulic systems,
Mom's
the
closed system
airplanes.
radiator in her car.
Right.
Ran out of water. I wonder how that happened.
Right, and like one of the closed hydraulic systems on an airplane is something called Skyroll, which, according to the guy that sells it, is, you can drink it. Only it'll melt your skin right off your body. So, yeah. Oh, I know.
A lot of local governments, they're being extremely preemptive on this.
Right.
This was not,
Well, he's looking at,
four things.
double range application. But he's not the one that's through Moffitt, that was someone else.
Moffitt would be a different.
That, yeah, I was gonna say, they're looking
What they were talking about is just having a runway to consider those, provided that they were legitimate public purpose.
Right.
That's really all that applies. Self-definition is very broad.
Oh,
That would
yeah.
include a clause about a wastewater plant.
Right.
Right, and so they're working to balance that.
So you didn't know the double branch?
I knew people were sniffing around, but I didn't know that they were, that was the most detail I had on it.
Right.
But I did ask if that was covered under this.
Well,
Here, you have.
in July.
We're all in favor of it.
Right, yeah, I saw that.
They want to see that happen. They believe the same thing. Come up with the rules of the game.
Yeah.
By then, a year will have gone by.
Yes.
Thank you for coming out. Thank you.
Yes.
Same exercise.
No, that exercise.
You did a great job.
That's perfect. That's perfect. So, everything that's right on the bottom.
I don't think so.
We would like, so, well, you call us, sit down, we go through it. So and I asked Paula, I said, Paula, she's now, you hear what they're asking, how many questions are coming up. I'm into that, we can work through that, coaching, same question, ask rhetorically,
You, I
Don't need to say that to people, but
Oh, that looks like fun. Is that what you're doing this weekend, or you did?
No, that was in April.
5 minutes before the meeting, 5 minutes after.
WineandJazz.com.
So sorry.
Beautiful backdrop behind them.
Very cool.
I said they could potentially. Are you gonna like? Do you play an instrument? Or do you just appreciate?
I did years ago, not very well. Clarinet and then alto sax.
That's awesome. You're like up there with her. She's good. Not like.
Yeah. The way she's dressed, I would think she'd be doing like hard rock.
She started out in contemporary jazz.
She's great. She's
And
fantastic.
then worked with, was the saxophone player for Aerosmith and Duran Duran. She filled in once for Larry Chris Lemons after he passed Springsteen. But most of her, and then she toured for 2 years as the front of Mindy Abear and the Bone Shakers. The Bone Shakers are a separate blues group. She did a combined thing with them for hard rock blues
Glass House.
stuff. And now she's back to contemporary jazz again.
Very talented. Just traveled the world.
And her husband is a wine guy. They work together with this company that does adventures. So they do music and wine.
This is like right up your alley.
Yeah, so I've been traveling with them since
Like the Rick Steves, you know? I was trying to it's good.
Yeah, I thought we had the kill switch go away with the new sound system. You're not sure.
Sharp, sir. Still that.
It's very well put together.
I showed her the thing. I was like.
Gavel down, Chair. You got 3. I got signed again.
Vice chair, but you know, he was the one at that meeting. It's actually in my badge.
Do I date it?
It was the one that was approved. They were just finalized today by the property appraisers.
Do I date today's date? 6.
No.
Can't hear you.
We're going to continue back to item P49. approve?
Yes.
Madam Clerk, you're a little late.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, I got it now.
Here's one.
Item P49 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on April 29th, 2026. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Denise Fernandez, Code Compliance Department. Before you is an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, providing for the amendment of Chapter 18, Article 9, Foreclosure Registry, Real Property Registration System, Section 18-152, Definitions, and 18-154, Maintenance Requirements, Pasco County Code of Ordinances, providing for modification, repeal, or severability, inclusion into Pasco County Code of Ordinances, and an effective date. So basically, the problem statement that we're looking at right now is that currently the registration for foreclosure registry can only be completed by local agents, and local agents are defined as being within the boundaries of Pasco County. So what we're proposing is to expand the list of counties that are considered local for the purposes of local agent registration, and that would include the counties that border Pasco County, Pinellas County, Hernando County, Hillsborough County, Polk County, and Sumter County. And we're asking that you please accept public comment on the amendment to Chapter 18, Article 9, and adopt the ordinance by roll call vote. And I'm here for any questions that you may have.
Okay, any questions of staff?
None.
Okay. And we'll go to public comment. Anyone here to speak to item P49?
I have no one signed up and no one virtually.
Okay, we'll bring it back to the board.
Move approval.
Second?
And roll call vote?
District 1, Commissioner Oakley. Oh, sorry, he's not here. District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye. Isn't he so quick?
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Item P50, do you approve?
Yes, item P50 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on June 7th, 2026.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Paula Baracaldo, Support Services. Before you is an ordinance by the Board of County Commissioners of Pasco County, Florida, providing for the amendment of Chapter 94, Article 4, Pasco County Local Provider Participation Fund, providing for modification, repealer, severability, inclusion into the Pasco County Code of Ordinances, and an effective date. And this item comes to you with a recommendation of approval. We do have here Colleen Ernst from Adelanto Healthcare Ventures, if you'd like to know more about this item. Otherwise, we're just asking for your approval. Thank you.
Do we need a presentation? All good? Okay.
Move.
Hang on.
Public hearing.
We have,
Yeah.
we do have.
Anyone here from the public that would like to address this item? P50.
I have about 4 people signed up. We
If
have,
you'd like to address it.
They're here mostly in support. It's our hospital local systems, yes.
If I was in Tallahassee, I'd say wave in support, but. Or not.
all right.
Okay. All right, it's to the board.
Move.
Second?
Roll call vote?
District 1, Commissioner Oakley. District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank
P51, do we have proof?
Yes, item P51 was published in Tampa Bay Times on March 25th, 2026.
Good afternoon, Planning and Development, or Amy Toll with Planning Development Economic Growth. Item P51 is an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Land Development Code, Section 1104, Flood Damage Prevention, Appendix A definition and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion in the Land Development Code, and an effective date. This comes before you with a recommendation to approve, and staff's here if you would like a presentation.
Do we need a presentation? Okay. This is to the public. Did anyone here in the public like to comment? I'd just like to say I'm very happy with this change. I think it's a beneficial thing for the citizens.
Mr. Chair, no one is signed up and no one is on WebEx.
Okay, we'll close public comment to the board.
Move approval.
Second?
Roll call vote?
District 1, Commissioner Oakley. District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye. Item P52, do we approve?
Yes, item P52 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on May 6, 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. Item P52 is the companion item to item P51, an ordinance by the Pasco County Board of County Commissioners amending the Pasco County Code of Ordinances, Chapter 18, Buildings and Building Regulations, Article 5, Article 6, Section 18-122 Florida Building Code, local administrative amendments, local technical amendments, flood damage prevention standards, and other sections as necessary for internal consistency, providing for applicability, repealer, providing for severability, inclusion in the Code of Ordinances, and an effective date. This comes before you with a recommendation to approve. Staff's available for a presentation as well.
Okay, would the board like a presentation? Okay. Anyone here from the audience like to speak to item P52?
Mr. Chair, no one is signed up and no one is on virtual.
Okay, close public comment, back to the board.
Move.
Second?
Roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley. District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
Aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye. Motion passes. Item P53, do we have proof?
Yes. Item P53 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on March 4th, 2026.
Item P53 is an ordinance amending the Pasco County Comprehensive Plan, providing for a text amendment to Chapter 2, Future Land Use Element Appendix, Section Flu A6, and providing for additional text amendments as necessary for internal consistency, providing for repealer, severability, and effective date. This is the adoption hearing for this item, and it comes before you with a recommendation to approve. There is also an presentation for this as well.
Okay. Would the board like a presentation? I'll just maybe ask David Engel, if this is the one we talked about and we're good?
Yes, sir. If that's what we spoke about when I was at Publix on Sunday.
There we go.
You are good. This is to allow redevelopment opportunities in our residential, office, and retail future land use, going up to a higher net gross density. And we also have 3 times FAR in the West Market area, which will support a 15 to 18-story building. We are considering additional measures to stimulate redevelopment in the west side, and that'll be part of the Pasco 2050 plan, which the board should be adopting this October.
Okay. And when you were at the store, did you find everything you needed?
Excuse me, sir?
When you were at the store, did you find everything you needed?
Yes, I had some lactate milk. It was delicious. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone here? Anyone here from the public speakers?
From almonds, Mr. Chair, lactate milk from almonds.
So, Mr. Chair, I have no one signed up and no one virtually for this
Okay,
item.
We'll close public comment to the board.
Move approval.
Roll call vote.
District 1, Commissioner Oakley. District 2, Commissioner Waitman.
For the almonds, approve, or aye.
District 3, Commissioner Starkey.
Aye.
District 4, Commissioner Yeager.
Aye.
District 5, Chairman Mariano.
Aye, motion passes. And now go to the public hearings. Mr. County Attorney?
Really? Why don't you do the continuance? You don't need the procedures for that.
All right.
Okay.
We'll do the continuance on P54.
Go ahead, and I'm going to read
Approve?
proof.
Okay.
Yes. Item P54 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on April 1st, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site posting. The item was continued from the May 19th, 2026 BCC meeting to today.
Item P54 is a zoning amendment in the name of Denton Ave MPUD, Denton Ave Project LLC. It's a rezoning request from AC Agricultural District to MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to allow for the development of 832 single-family detached units, 75,000 square feet of support commercial, and 440,000 square feet of light industrial and associated infrastructure on approximately 331.6 acres located in northeast Pasco County, approximately 1.5 miles east of the intersection of Denton Ave and Little Road. This is a continuance request to August 25th, 2026 at 1:30 p.m. in Newport Richey.
Motion to continue?
Yeah, northwest Pasco County, not northeast for
Got
the
it.
record,
Thank
but
you.
move to continue.
Second.
And just a little discussion with staff, I have met with the applicants, and all the discussions we've had, I've just relayed them all to them, so everything we've talked about, they understand my concerns. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I have someone signed up for this item.
It's advised continuance. This is advertised in continuance, so we're just continuing it.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, your procedures are, there are 2 rezoning agendas, regular and consent. Staff will present each application to the Board of County Commissioners. If staff or planning commission has recommended approval and there is no opposition, the application will be considered by the board without further presentation. If staff or planning commission has recommended denial, or if there is opposition to the application, the applicant will be given 5 minutes for presentation. The opposition will be given 3 minutes for each individual, or 5 minutes for a group representative, and the applicant will be given 3 minutes for rebuttal. Any individual disagreeing with staff or planning commission recommendation, or anyone wishing to object to any condition of the rezoning may at this time request the petition be pulled from the consent agenda, in which case that application will be heard under the regular agenda later on during the meeting. Otherwise, all rezoning applications on the consent agenda will be approved by a single motion and vote. If you wish to speak to any petition, please give your name and address and whether or not you've been sworn for the record. These are quasi-judicial public hearings. The law in Florida is that mere public support or opposition of an application is insufficient for this board to take action. Please limit your comments to those criteria found within the board's land development code. Madam Clerk, would you like to swear the public in?
Thank you, Mr. County Attorney. If you're here to speak to the remaining items on the agenda, please stand, raise your right hands. Okay. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, so help you God? Thank you.
Okay, item P55, you have proof.
Yes. Item P55 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on May 6, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P55 is a zoning amendment in the name of R&R Property Investments LLC, R&R Property Shady Hills. It's a change in zoning from an AR Agricultural Residential District to a C2 General Commercial District located in northwest Pasco County on the east side of Shady Hills Road, approximately 784 feet north of the intersection of Shady Hills Road and Floralton Drive, containing approximately 1 acre. This comes before you with a recommendation to approve.
Okay. Is there anyone here to speak in opposition to this project?
Mr. Chair, I have someone signed up for this item, but I don't see them in the audience. Logan O'Leary. Logan O'Leary. Okay.
I do have a question.
You want us to pull it from consent?
You've only got one
I know,
consent.
I know it's the only
so
one.
you might as well just
All right,
ask.
so go ahead, ask your question.
All right, can you just show me on the map where it is? Because when I look on my map here, it's all houses, so I'm just trying to understand where it is.
So if you see the aerial imagery here, this is the full parcel, but the little corner that's right there is what's being proposed. The rest is essentially part of an easement, so that easement is going to remain as is. We've already.
Who owns that easement?
It is the gas easement, Florida Gas, I think it is.
Oh, because I see bike trail.
Yeah.
And I see that.
Yeah, right now it's a gas easement, a natural gas easement. So we did coordinate with them. They went out to the site to ensure that the proposed rezoning and what they're planning to do on this site would not impact the easement itself. And they confirmed that it will not.
And you said C2?
C2, correct.
But I'm just curious, it's all residential across, well, it's kind of messed up.
It's all actually.
Code enforcement action.
Yeah, it's ROR and C2, so you can see the C2 to the north, so it's already abutting C2, and then this entire area is ROR, and the actual easement that we were discussing is ComFlu. So it's generally the bottom end of that commercial node that's in that area.
And it looks like it goes right to, from Lancer Road is probably where the connection point's gonna be, so it's actually a good fit.
Yeah, it just, whatever's there on COM needs code enforcement action on it. I don't think that's legal stuff going on. Okay, I feel better.
Sure.
Okay. Commissioner Whitman.
Guess my favorite question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
There's not
You're
room.
welcome.
No, it's the contiguous parcels that always concern me whenever we have these smaller add-ons to it, that they could connect them together and then get to where, live local becomes vulnerable. So if you condition a piece of it, maybe it discourages any opportunity. That's my
Yes, sir.
thought process.
Voluntary deed restriction has been assessed.
All right, so we'll leave that on the consent agenda. Anyone here from the audience to speak against item P55? Anyone online?
No one's online.
All right, to the board.
Move approval of consent agenda.
Wow.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Item P56.
Item P56. Item P56 was published in the Tampa Bay Times on May 6, 2026, and by affidavit of certified mailings and site postings.
Item P56 is a zoning amendment, a substantial modification to the Mitchell 54 West MPUD, M&M Route 54 West LLC, a substantial amendment to the Mitchell 54 West MPUD Master Plan Unit Development District to remove the transit-oriented design and mixed-use trip reduction measures requirements and to reduce the non-residential entitlements to 460,000 square feet of commercial and add 240 hotel rooms and associated infrastructure on approximately 330 acres located in southwest Pasco County on the southwest quadrant of the intersection of State Road 54 and Little Road. This comes before you with a recommendation to approve with conditions, and staff's here with a presentation.
Okay. Anyone like a presentation?
No.
I would like to say that I don't need a presentation, but I think it's going to be a great project.
Me too.
There'll be a time for public comment. Then we have from the public here to speak to item P56. Anyone online?
There's no one online for this item.
To the board.
Move approval of P56.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And item P57.
We have a gentleman standing.
Thank you, Chuck Lane, Director of the Office of Disaster Recovery Resources. Got a brief PowerPoint to present an amendment to our action plan. So this is the first substantial amendment to our action plan for CDBG DR funds.
Chuck, hang on just for a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I apologize, I did not say the proof.
Oh.
So item P57, thank you, Mr. Chair, was published in the Tampa Bay Times. Oh, I'm sorry, it says proof of publication is not required for this item, so
Moving right along.
there we go. I interrupted you for nothing.
We're required to post on our website, which we've
Oh,
done.
here's the doc.
So,
Thank you.
a substantial amendment with HUD requires 3 public meetings where the public has the opportunity to provide comments. Our first 2 public meetings were held on May 28th and June 8th, where we are currently within a HUD-required 30-day public comment period, which ends on June 18th. We have 2 main objectives with the 3 public meetings, and that one is to help the board and the public understand the changes to our action plan, why we're proposing them, and how they will impact our program. Secondly, to provide an opportunity for the public to provide comment on the changes that we're proposing and changes we're not proposing, and changes that they would want us to propose. So there's very little in terms of programmatic changes that we're proposing. This amendment is mostly to provide clarity and flexibility in managing our Better Future program. When HUD comes to audit us, and they will several times throughout the grant life, they not only audit us against HUD regulations, they audit us against the rules that we set for ourselves. So added flexibility and clarity is very helpful to us. So these are the changes to our individual housing program. The first change you see on the screen is to provide clarity. We've been able to use these funds for this type of match under our mitigation program. This language change clarifies that we can do it within the individual housing program. The second change is also a clarification. Since the program opened, our maximum award for reconstruction has been $330,000, and we could add $100,000 if code requires that the home is elevated. We just felt that this language needed to be tightened up for when HUD comes to pull down the covers on us. The third one is the only financial change we're proposing with this amendment. It's an increase to our maximum award for a single-wide manufactured home unit from $145,000 to $163,000. This is simply in response to market pricing we're seeing for these types of units. And lastly, we're adding the ability to provide down payment assistance loans for home buyers.
For non-housing programs, we're clarifying that we can use these funds for federal required matches. We're clarifying that we can assist micro-enterprise business under our economic recovery program, and we're establishing the county leadership can directly allocate funds to projects under our infrastructure mitigation and public facilities programs. If you want to submit a comment, people wishing to submit a public comment can do so by commenting after my presentation today. If folks aren't comfortable speaking at the podium, Jessica Plasters with IEM is here today with me. We can take comments in a one-on-one setting if that's what you prefer. We'll be in the back of the room following the meeting. People can also submit their comments online by going to mypasco.net and tapping on the Better Future icon. There's a form on that page that people can use to submit a comment online. People can also email us at betterfuture@mypasco.net, betterfuture@mypasco.net, or they can call us at 727-228-4936, and they can submit a comment verbally. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to take questions.
Great job.
Any questions?
No, just great job.
Chuck, I just want to say, I think you're doing a phenomenal job.
Yep, same.
Appreciate all the great work.
Thank you.
And anyone here from the public would like to address this item? Okay,
Move approve?
Second?
And no one is online for this item.
okay. All right, close public comment. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right, we'll go to committee reports, and if the board doesn't mind, I'm going to go to Commissioner
Well,
Yeager.
do we want to finish the R?
I was going to ask if the
Oh,
board wanted
yes,
to
we
finish
do.
the R item from this morning with
Yes, we
utilities.
do.
I think we had two
They're all
slides
sitting back
remaining,
there.
plus some conversation.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'll be brief. Adolfo Gonzalez, Utilities Engineering and Contract Management Director. I'm going to go to just the last couple of slides in our presentation. Okay, what you heard today was that we take these master plans to plan out for the short term as well as the long term, 20-plus years, as to what our water, sewer, and reclaimed water infrastructure needs to look like and how we can fund it. We've taken that and essentially concluded that based on the continued rate of growth, we're still going to need more capacity in terms of water supply, capacity in terms of transmitting water and sewer to facilities, and capacity at our wastewater treatment plants to handle all the growth plus our existing customers. We plan to do that by implementing a series of capital projects over the next 5 years to handle the growth-related part of the business, in addition to the improvements we need to continue making to our existing infrastructure for renewal and replacement of existing facilities. Just the growth-related aspects of it equals about $1.8 billion over the next 10 years. In the short term, over the next 5 years, it's about a $1 billion capital plan. For comparison, our total 5-year capital improvement program that we're presenting to you this summer for the fiscal year 27 through 31 period, I believe is $1.4 billion. So $900 million of that, or almost $1 billion of that, is related to growth. The other $400 million is related to renewal and replacement of existing infrastructure. And we'll most likely need some type of going out to the bond market in the next couple of years to fund some of this work, where before we were able to do pay-as-you-go in terms of the revenue received from connection fees and our ratepayers as well. But we definitely think that it'll be, we'll need to go out to get additional bonds to secure this financing for all of the entire capital improvement plan.
Well, I'm not even sure if we're able to do bonds if we have a.
They will.
They can?
They have their own revenue source,
Oh, okay.
so it's not
We
going to
may
be
be
backed
done
by
with that.
property taxes.
Let's talk.
On your previous slide, that you're missing an L on the word reclaimed.
Excuse me?
On the previous slide, you're missing an L on the reclaimed.
On the reclaimed water, we're looking at two things.
You're missing an L, the letter L.
An L.
Spelled wrong.
Oh, I apologize. We'll
next
correct
slide,
that
on
in
the other slide.
the official record.
Right
And
there.
you have reclaimed instead of reclaimed.
We'll correct it, thank you. Last thing is, I want to tell you what we're working on. The first thing is this year we're starting an update to the connection fee study to determine what the connection fee should be so that growth pays for growth. And the other couple of things we're doing is we're just starting this summer an alternative drinking water supply study. We're looking at alternative water supply sources, surface water, stormwater harvesting, groundwater, anything we can add to the reclaimed water supply network to provide that future supply for our customers. And the third thing is we're going to try to balance the need to expand possibly 3 wastewater treatment plants over the next 5 to 7 years by moving flows from one wastewater plant to the other with the existing infrastructure and possibly some new transmission pipelines in the area. That should, the intent there is to try to maximize the permitted capacity we have across all 5 plants so that we're not stuck in one particular plant with a constraint that could limit growth in that area as well. With that, your team is here if you have any other questions for us.
No, I just hope that we take all the input you had from us to kind of like go into it. I know you had that study from Newport Richey, and you were right as far as it dealt with the heavy flows or the heavy storms coming in, but if there's some provisions to actually help that situation, good. And if it is somehow beneficial to look at the small plants as bigger plants as we go down the road to keep them in play so we keep the asset if we have it, if we don't need to get rid of it, but at the same time, just keep studying everything.
Yes, sir, we'll take that into consideration and report back to you sometime later this year.
Okay. That's all? All right, sorry, we should give you 2 extra minutes.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
got to sit through the whole afternoon for that.
Commissioner Yeager, committee reports.
Okay, so this was Habitat for Humanity. This was Mr. Paul Cuba. He was an interesting story. He had started 10 years ago with Habitat and never gave up. And he volunteered over 500 hours. So he was only supposed to have 350, but he helped other people build a home. So that was really cool. Okay, next is my public safety update. So fire rescue had a total of 8,826 calls. The MVA, is that the medevac? What is that? What does MVA stand for? What does it stand for? Oh, motor vehicle accidents. I know that. 321, structure fires 37, special ops calls 153. And then there is a story. Joanna, would you like to tell the story? Since I can't find it, about the e-bike?
Yeah, I believe that was the call that we responded to at I think it was 1 a.m, but there was a structure fire in this home, 2-story home, and we found the fires in the garage with this e-bike, so there's a picture of this bike.
Wow, really?
How did it catch fire? All right, and let's see. Oh, and then, do you want to go back to the other slide? So, this was the Corrections Honor Guard. The members served at last week's Rays baseball game. So that was really, really an honor for them.
I would just like to say those guys are sharp,
Really.
very sharp.
And then we just have a shout out for the corrections. Lieutenant Joseph Allen with the Corrections Department was recently recognized by inmates' family and corrections leadership for his professional and compassionate care following an inmate incident. The inmate's family wrote, "We appreciate the prompt response and reassurance that he is receiving appropriate care. His mother and I feel much better knowing that he is safe, that his medical needs were addressed." And this just highlights the team's commitment to their excellence and attentive care. So shout out to corrections. And then just for the sheriff's office, their update is, all right, so since their last update on 5/19, they have received more than 21,500 calls for service and have conducted more than 3,500 traffic stops, including that a total of 1,000 welfare checks, where some calls in to report they're concerned about a person they have not heard or seen. Recently, more than 20 missing people investigations and substantial response needed calls for service, such as human remains being found in a construction site and stopping multiple teen takeovers, including a highly publicized event at the Crate at Wesley Chapel. So just my monthly update for them. Shout out to them because we have an amazing public service team, and not to mention our 911 workers. We love you too. I wanted to just bring attention to something that the team and David Engel and I have been working on, and it is a small business initiative, and we've nicknamed it Work Local, and it's basically making a path for small businesses in Pasco County to move through the process more efficiently with a boutique type of service, like a concierge service, and also to help get them going quicker and to try and navigate some of the fees.
Nice.
So, and we're also working on some of the blighted areas to where we can incentivize that and try and get people to look at those spaces. So David, if you don't mind, I'll bring you up, but this was born because I'm a small business owner and I was going through the process and felt all the pains and aches that all the small business owners felt, and I said, how can we streamline this? So this is something we've been working on for a few months.
Hi, David Engel, Planning, Development, and Economic Growth. Our Board of County Commissioners, for the years I've been here, have been very committed to the local small business community. And in fact, if you look at U.S. Department of Labor data, small businesses are the most resilient hirer in the country. They hire much more people than large Fortune 500 companies. They respond very quickly coming out of a trough from a recession, and they're the last to lay off, and they're very resilient. And in our community, the last time we did a business survey in Pasco County, approximately 80% of all the businesses in Pasco are locally owned style small businesses. In fact, 80% had less than 25 or less employees, and 47% of them were people that lived in Pasco and owned businesses in Pasco. And some of the biggest problems with small business is the front-end capital load that's required for them to expand and situate here in the county. And we have some great stories, and I just want to tell you what the potential is of any incentive program. We have local homegrown businesses that are absolutely outstanding in Class A facilities. We have PharmaWorks. Peter Bazinski, the interim CEO of AmSkills, started a business in his home, and now he's one of the largest employers here in Pasco County. We have Lane Mendelson, another homegrown resident who lives out in Wesley Chapel, and he is expanding Vantage AI, and we're creating jobs where the average pay is about $100,000, high-paying wages. And we also have NVGTN on Trinity Boulevard in Commissioner Starkey's district. These folks started a high-end women's athletic clothery basically in their house, and now they have a 100,000 square foot facility. They're generating about $25 million a year in revenue, and they have a lot of jobs there that they've created in Pasco.
I think they're both under 30.
So, I mean, that is our potential here. That's the type of incubator program that we'd like to evolve. So I had just some antidotes, and what I'm looking for today is just to get some board direction. If you like what you hear, just give me the authorization to go do some work and come back with a proposal. So number one, we have a big problem finding leasable space in the county for small business. Most of our warehouse construction is large demised areas of 15,000, 20,000 square foot minimum, but the small business footprint is much lower. Those are just too large for small business. So Barbara Wilhite approached me with a client. They own property near Bellamy Brothers and State Road 52. It's in the IL zone, and he's a Pasco resident, and he said, you know, I've always dreamed for 10, 15 years about producing a small business spec facility. So I've come up with this concept, small building, overhead doors, but they're at grade. We don't need to have semis pulling in, and it's demisable down to 1,700 square feet. So he said, well, you know, we got some FDOT required potential improvements on the highway, or could you produce some incentives? And I said, I'll tell you what, would you be open to getting an incentivization package where we're buying down your rent for locally owned small Pasco businesses, where we can give them a rent break for 5 years or so to get them up and running? Very interested. And I see so much potential here, because what we can do through our empowerment mechanism is even do an RFP, asking for people to come in, and we'll be willing to incentivize a project if you build the space necessary for our small business. The board did this back in 2017 and 18 with pads and pours. We've gotten spec offices and large warehouses and industrial buildings up, but it doesn't accommodate the small business. So on a smaller scale, we don't need the same level of penny for Pasco funding. We could do it for the small business. Secondly, the capital stack up front. Small business does not have access to commercial capital right now. the banks are risk adverse. They're requiring enormous amounts of project equity in by the project, and they're lending very little, and it's a very high interest rate. So I believe that it's timely for us to consider some incentivization for locally owned small business, either redeveloping an existing property or building a new, especially in the West Market area, which is key to creating jobs and creating redevelopment and tax-based contribution. So that's kind of the gamut. And the Board of County Commissioners are very empathetic, and I really admire everybody, Commissioner Yeager, you've been out there helping the needy and the disadvantaged community. Commissioner Starkey, she's very sensitive about people's lives and their interaction with the built environment, and all of you do that kind of thing. But we've always been a county of empowerment. We believe in helping people that are disadvantaged, but the best way we can do is empower. We have a tremendous job skills training program. We've introduced massive amount of industrial development. We're not really a bedroom community anymore. We're tilting over to being more balanced. And this will really, I think, get us over the finish line, because your small business, these are the guys that come in here, individuals, they bring their families in, they stake their future in Pasco, they invest in Pasco, then they hire and pay taxes here. And I'd like to be able to go do some work and support these people and come back to the board. So that's my ask today. Work local.
What do you think, guys?
Commissioner Waitman, okay.
I thought we'd embarked on something like this years ago in making it easier for small business with fees and something similar. I guess we weren't doing anything till.
Well, no, sir. We have done things. We first of all, in the West Market area, we have reductions or elimination of mobility impact fees. In 2022, January of that year, the board effectuated a break in locally owned small business mobility fees, so they pay a lesser rate. We've been doing things, and in fact, we're still doing things. And with Commissioner Yeager's sponsorship, because of her unique business experience here in the county, we've established a development services concierge group. And we have an individual who's trained and skilled, who'll be helping the small business projects, because these people are lay people. They don't know what a CELA is. They don't know anything about this stuff. So we are actually providing a very personal concierge service. And every small business application that comes into PDE is value engineered. In fact, I'll give you an example. Suncoast Recovery was in recently, and I know Commissioner Mariano's been following them because they provide great benefit to the local community. And they were on a fixed amount of income and financing, and we were able to actually cut over $80,000 in capital costs by value engineering their site plan and showing them ways that they can meet the code but also save money. And we're going to provide that every opportunity we can. So also building and construction services under David Allen's leadership, because he's part of this concierge system. We're going to establish that also for the building permitting. So we will be giving the small business and the citizen very, very personal care and make sure we save them money and save them time. And lastly, this concierge group in planning, development, economic growth, they will also be handling minor rural subdivisions. People should be able to split their property and without a lot of havoc and also expense. So we'll be helping them save money and get legal with their lot splits. So basically, that's what we're doing.
Yeah, we need to, especially with minor rules, this county's made it too daggum difficult, but anyway, good work, Commissioner Yeager.
Thank you.
Yeah, sir, we are working on streamlining it now. Thank you.
Look forward to seeing your report.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. David, you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
Even on Sundays.
We're going this way?
Commissioner
okay.
Waitman.
All right, cool. Commissioner Yeager, 1 second, you might want to wait on this.
Oh,
If you have a minute.
all right.
Thank you, Chair. So, we voted on the DR funds and the projects moving forward. I want to make sure that as we embark on the housing component side of the DR funds, I personally, and hopefully the board agrees, want to take any of the county's green space or park space off the table. That those sites that we own, the green space, the park space, not the lots that are repoed on the taxes or liened or whatever, that will not be open for discussion to put affordable housing, apartments, whatever, on it. I will be adamantly opposed to any proposal that encompasses the county's parks and green space. And in fact, it concerns me so much that I was hoping to get some level of support for a policy that is just not what we're going to do here in this county.
Question, because I don't think any of us want to see that happening, but I thought maybe the legislature, did they take that ability away from us?
It's in the
Did they
live
think that's
local,
us?
it's in the live local, there's a live local component. However, way I understood it as, we could just set our own internal policy as a guiding principle to staff, that this board says, park space and our green spaces, are off limits. And just make it more concrete.
Did you see that they're asking, I think it's for the school district, the state's asking for an inventory of surplus
Yep.
property?
Yep,
Are
and
they
I-
asking county or just?
They
school?
could, no, we've given, Pasco County has given a list of its parks, right? Its parks, its green spaces. And this is kind of planting our flag to anybody that comes in for DR or live local or any of the above kind of, taxpayer-funded subsidized programs, which the taxpayers already own our park space, right? And our green spaces, those are off limits.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope, and I just want to be on the record, and I'm hopeful that this board aligns and says, hey, we're willing to talk to you, but those properties are not on the table.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
I hadn't even given it a thought, hadn't been approached by it, so.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
If you need, do we need to bring a policy back to us, Ed?
I mean, we can formalize it if the board would like. I don't have a problem doing
If it helps a position that keeps others from even trying?
Yeah, I'd like to I think we should make it more formal to, if something, litigious happens in the future, that we've planted our flag.
Okay.
And then the next thing I'd like to bring up, and we talked about it, there was some arm wrestling over the name, Central Pasco Employment
No, I got a good name.
Village. I'm not getting between you two. Jeff's in the middle of y'all over that. But looking at there's the residential component is coming online pretty quick. Met with the applicants on it, and just like VOPH, the market has changed drastically in Pasco, and I want to make sure that the Central Pasco Employment Village is being laid
Cypress
out.
Creek Village.
I'm not getting in the middle of that.
Name hasn't been changed. You're out of order.
In between, yeah, that we take a closer look at the land that's there and the uses. If we need to evolve the jobs component to attract, the jobs that we want based on today's market, is the residential component formula balanced, and is it the right? Is it fitting for what's going on today? I only bring this up because there's a lot of action on 52. It's going to be widened. Aaron cut off. There's projects across the street to the north, and I just want to make sure that these legacy plans are appropriate for today's market with everything that's encompassed into that plan. I want to make sure that we get
Yeah,
it
but
right.
Mr. Starkey?
Well, I mean, we have to have the landowners or the property owner's permission to change it, right?
I mean, just layout, design, the road network, the substation is currently
That-
going in.
that
Just
may-
take a
that-
look,
that
just take a
property
look
alone,
under the
that's
hood
barn.
is what I'm
Well,
saying.
I'd be all for that, because
Yeah.
we'd love to see quality, walkable.
Yeah, you have the,
nice
the
environment.
trail, cypress, the well fields are back there. Just take a look under the hood. To make sure that project, what's left there, reaches its full,
Yeah.
potential.
Well, if I could just.
Yes, sir.
So, I talked to probably the same folks about their project, and I do think there's an opportunity for some retail. I do think that, we set the employment village there to create jobs, though. So I don't want to just see that thing get loaded with apartments or just straight residential either. I want to see a lot of job opportunities. If it takes time for it to
Yeah.
come in, so be it.
I'm not looking to
And
lean
right now,
towards
you've got a couple of major things going on. You've got Bellamy Brothers Road that eventually will need to get expanded. You've got 52 that's not committed to, not even after the intersection of 41 and even to the north of 41. So there's still some big infrastructure situations that need to be addressed before, I think, some changes to be made, or just in counting for that, before they can actually do other things that's just gonna increase that traffic, because it is still very heavy out there. And it's dangerous, frankly, with a 2-lane road with all that traffic, big trucks going back and forth. It's not a safe place.
Yeah, I bring this up because the residential seemingly in the employment district is starting to get a lot of attention. And I want to make sure it's not eaten up with the residential component, and that it's a good quality residential component within the project.
It's Lennar, right?
And that we don't,
Good luck.
get bamboozled, especially on the employment piece, right? And that we just put our eyes on it because the market's there today. And lastly, with our, thank you, staff and team, for the discussion on the future of our water utility. With the landscaping and how much water is being used, especially as more communities come online, and the future of reclaim is uncertain, right? There's always going to be 2.2, is that what it was? 2.2 homes now make it to enough reclaim for one. If there's a way, we have our landscape ordinances and everything that we require, but if it's the right time to make a shift towards, more Florida-friendly landscaping within the communities, we hear them, at least I do, when reclaim is down and folks can't water, and you have hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars worth of landscaping in communities that aren't able to be watered, and it's dying and it has to be replaced, and the CDDs are responsible for it. If there's a way that I don't know who decides the type of landscaping and how much water they use go into the communities, but if we're looking to, try to manage the potable water supply that we have, I hate to see that wasted on landscaping, so I don't know.
I
don't know if
hate to
it's-
see it on St. Augustine grass, because you can't do drip irrigation on, the trees and the bushes, that's drip irrigation, that's very minimal.
I figure it's more in your wheelhouse with
Yeah,
with
when
landscaping
people are
Commissioner
putting in
Starkey, but
Big
something
yards of
more
St.
efficient.
Augustine, that's that water, and that's what's more wasteful.
I mean,
Well,
we're
they-
working against ourselves, right? And I think that needs to change.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain we've got some things on the books, but let me, to use your phrase, look under the hood. Let me see what it is that we're doing, if things can be tightened up, and what sort of enforcement provisions, and how do we go about that?
And, I looked at the watering requirements in our code with Patrick, I think, a while ago, and it's pretty vague, and I think it should be limited to drip, because that's the most environmentally friendly, landscaping type. It shouldn't be the heads that half the time are spraying the street or something. The drip irrigation, very effective.
So anyway, those are Waitman's thoughts of the day.
Good job.
Thank you.
Mr. Starkey?
Yeah, so no one mentioned here the Tri-County Workshop, but I enjoyed that, and, who was there? Oh, Jack was there.
Jack was there, you were there.
You were there?
No, Lisa was there.
And Lisa was there, correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, great job on that, and, I love the way we come together, and for the
You
most
guys
part.
took your first vote, we were so proud.
Yeah, it was very good. Except people
The
have to-
attorneys had a discussion about that on the side.
Well, we know,
People have to
but
speak into the
symbolically,
microphones,
Jeff.
Okay, I am sponsoring 2 resolutions at NACO, and you guys know of the one, I think you got a copy of it, which is the, Public Housing Authorities, it's the one on the vouchers. So, anyone who wants to help support me on these, at the NACO conference, I'd appreciate it. That's where we're going to say that, the housing vouchers need to go to local residents first, and then they can put some out-of-county people on our list, but it's gotta be local residents first. And I don't have it highlighted here, so, and to be considered local, it's one continuous year, not one day. That's ridiculous. So, so we want 80% of the vouchers to go for local residents, and the remaining 20 can be prioritized for applicants who have immediate family residing within the jurisdiction or who possess a documented employment offer within the jurisdiction. So those would all be first in line. The next one came to me from William Crozier, if you remember, our friend from the White House in the first Trump administration. He asked me to sponsor this resolution that just passed with the League of Cities. It's modernizing the capital gains tax exclusion. So I won't read the whole thing, but I sent it out to all of you to look at. But they said that this should help unlock some of the housing market, so I think this is very good. If you've noticed, the landscaping going up Little Road, which is on drip irrigation, I thought that we should put a sign. You know how you have a sign when we're building a county building, whatever, this was approved by, or this project is. I thought we should let our people know the trees come from the Tree Mitigation Trust Fund, paid through from development. I think that people are really happy when they know the developers are having to put trees back in. So I don't know the right wording, but let's put a project sign up. Right?
I mean,
Kind of like penny sign.
kind of like a penny
Yeah,
sign.
like the penny sign.
I mean, I've anecdotally heard other things through even our ACAs having discussions with individual citizens, and when they find out that that's tree mitigation money paid
Yeah.
for by developers, oh,
They're very happy.
there's a moment of clarity there.
Yeah, and they're happy that that's where the money's coming from, and that they took the trees out, we're putting some back in. So, lastly, I got this really interesting email over here from the Council on Foreign Relations about an Ebola update. So, God, I hope they're not like starting to say it's coming to all of us, like, but I wanted to send that to you. And I'm sure our health department is on it, but I think I forwarded it to you.
You did. I forwarded it to our emergency management, public
Yeah.
safety, and public health.
I'm not,
folks.
I don't think I can't, I think it's the 26th. I may or may not jump on there, but I want to make sure someone from the county did, so we know what the heck's going on. That's it for me.
Mr. Carvalho?
3 quick hitters. First is just a reminder that on Thursday, June 18th at 9 a.m. here, we will have your budget workshop. We've briefed you all individually on the various states of affairs with the budget. We won't be covering capital at this particular budget hearing, but we will be covering the operational sides, as well as the constitutional officers will be here too to present their budgets and talk about their particular challenges. That is on this Thursday. Second, and really just second and third are really just some good news items. Our budget office, again, it's been working really, really hard, but they were named the Government Finance Officer Association's, they won what they call the Triple Crown here for fiscal year 24, excuse me. A Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Finance, Popular Annual Financial Reporting Award, and the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. So again, they continue their commitment to excellence as well as transparency through the budgeting process, and we know that work is never done, but we'll continue to do so as we endeavor down the budgeting process. And then also our fleet management department was also ranked in the top 20 of leading fleets in the country for 2026 by the Government Fleet and American Public Works Association. Again, that's a national award that evaluates efficiency, effectiveness, as well as other metrics in relation to keeping what is a large government expense for us. But our fleet guys do it well and do it efficiently and effectively. And that's all, sir.
Thank you. Do copies of those go to the governor's office?
I'm sorry, sir?
Do copies of those go to the governor's office?
I hope somebody's listening, but yes.
Thank you. Mr. Sunnysdale?
Based on a conversation with the administrator, we are putting together, well, let me rephrase this. So, Florida Association of County Attorneys, still sitting on that board, has been putting together a list of things that you can do or not do for the property tax amendment discussion. League of Cities has also put out a document. Mike and I had talked about providing you sort of a synopsis of those two documents to let you know what you can legally do under the electioneering communication law in Florida with regard to the upcoming ballot initiative on property taxes. And so we'll be getting that out to you in the next week or so.
Question for you. Does that apply to, let's say, if you're getting a call from a news source that wants to interview you, will that be applicable to what you're talking about? So not us doing something, we're just being interviewed.
I'll be glad to cover things like that in the memo, but that would not be considered electioneering communication in my opinion.
Okay.
And you as elected officials have more discretion or ability to say things than the administrator and his staff do.
Okay.
But we're working on that.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Madam Clerk?
I don't have anything.
Uh,
You.
I just want to give one item. By the way, the Tri-County workshop I thought was great.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, as far as, if you guys remember, there was a gentleman that was coming from a meeting with us, and he was asking for people to try to help out that were like hit by the storm and didn't get help. Well, I had a veteran that had first in mind for it, and the group showed up, they finally got it approved, went through colors and everything else. He's gonna get an ADA bathroom, which instead of having to walk over a tub and low setting, and a low toilet, there was cabinetry that was all damaged by the storm, but didn't have the money to replace it. In one day's time, this crew went in there and cleaned out the whole kitchen, all the flooring in the bathroom, and they're ready to get started. It's called Rebuilding Together, and I just want to tell you, if you see them coming around to help somebody, the budget's about 25 grand, and what they're doing for this gentleman right here is gonna be amazing. And he's a World War II veteran.
Oh, that's
So it's like really gonna make a good quality of life for him to live out his final years in a place where he can move around instead of having to worry about what's going on around the place, so. Anyway, doing a great job. And that's all we got.
One more thing, Chair.
Oh,
Nick, anybody else from the road department here, Bradford, Carbala? Thank y'all for Aaron cut off in 52. Good job. Thank y'all very, very much. Improvements coming, temporary turn lane and coming out in line, and appreciate DOT being a good partner with the temporary fix. Jason Mickle over there, thank you guys. And that folks are really going to appreciate that work. So thank you and DOT. That's it.
All right, thank you all, we're adjourned.
All right, see you in a month.
Oh, it'll be a Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, Thursday.
It's Jeff's last meeting, we're gonna.
We have a plan, he's coming to public comment, first meeting after retirement.
He'll be there in August.
Turn lanes.